Welcome, everybody, to the CrossFire podcast. I'm hoping that everybody can hear us. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping that it's going to go flawless tonight. I'm not seeing a few things that I want to see on here. I hope everyone in the chat can hear me. I'm going to do a quick sound check here, make sure we can.
I can hear you.
Well, I'm hoping. Well, thank God you can hear me, Xbox.
I know.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear the live feed to make sure that everybody can hear us here. Because as far as I know, welcome everybody to the Crossfire Pod. We are going live, so that's great, guys. Welcome everybody. I want to say this real quick before we get into our intros. I want to say welcome to the channel, guys. Welcome everybody that's here. Please do retweet this out. Hit that subscribe button. And if you'll look just above the description, everybody, I've got a join button there. That join button is that. It's a way for you to join the channel, become a part of the channel. You're in the chat. Every time you mention something, not only do you get the great emotes that were made by the great Sean LeBray, but you also become a part of the conversation, and I always reach out to make sure that you can be a part of the questions. That being said, I want to go ahead and say Longshot 316. These are our Mooch Maniacs. Sir X-Man, Masshole 1977, JB Kash, Midway Monster, JudaZuk, Shinseiya, Mass Murders, our major Mooch Maniacs, including Wilmy Hood, the great Wilmy Hood, and then our VIP Mooch Maniacs, Marty Bison, Biggie 2316, Doggy Dog 420, and the newly acquired VIP Percolator 9000. Guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. And shout out to Doggy Dog who says the super chat's working. Like and share it out. That being said, guys, it is a tremendous honor and great to have the one and only Crap Gamer is back on the show. Crap, how you doing tonight?
What's up, man? I'm hoarding toilet paper. It's crazy, but I can sell you guys some if you want it after the show. Hit me up. You know, I'd be happy to try to sell you guys some of that stuff. But I'm happy to be back. You know, I'm glad to be on the show. I've missed it. I missed doing the podcast and stuff like that. So I can't wait to get into some of these topics because they're very, very good topics. So let's go.
Appreciate that, Crap, and it's great to have you back. And then I've got the one, the only, he's Xbot 448. Xbot, how the hell are you doing tonight?
What's going on, everybody? We are kicking off the Gamers Weekend, and Mooch, I just want to let you know, if you didn't know it, you have the Pro Ori player on the panel tonight being yours truly, King Neutral.
Nobody's anti-Ori, by the way, that I know of. I just
no. I'm talking
there's some
pro,
people
like me and shout out to Delilah HD. We were going back and forth with the spirit trials today, and we were besting each other's time, and I'm not sure if she just got tired of it, but at the end of the day, I had the best time on our friends list. I am number one on our friends list. I am a pro Ori player. Is what I'm saying, man.
That's awesome. Glad to see it, man. Hey, Space Cat. Woo!
Space Cat! Shout out to Space Guys. What's up? Crossfire Podcast. Good to see Craps back. You bet your ass it's great to see Craps back. Space Cat's great to have you here, buddy. We miss you. We miss those call-ins. One day he'll be back. Yeah. That being said, I've got the great Gaming Forte. And Gaming Forte, just so you know, there is a massive topic that includes you tonight, my good friend. But Gaming Forte, welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. Just trying to keep my head low in here, helping these customers get the things they want because all their kids are going to be sitting at home with us for the rest of the next 3 weeks.
They gotta do their schoolwork. What are you talking about, bro?
Do what schoolwork? Are you serious, man? These parents out here getting their kids gaming systems so they can leave them the hell alone over the next 3 weeks, bro. That's pretty much what's about to happen.
Damn, the schools over here, they're like, go online and complete schoolwork while you're
that's what they tell you on the outside. But what's really going to happen in those four walls? Is your mom a parent? Is your mom a parent or a teacher? You gotta think about it.
Question of the ages.
I got to be both a dad and a teacher.
Look, as soon as I saw the homework that they sent home with my child today, I was like, I guess we're going to be teachers and parents for the next 3 weeks, and I don't know if a lot of the parents are going to be like that.
That's very true.
But shout out to the people Shout out to the people that's making retail a lot of money this weekend because
yes, they are
because they don't know what to do with their kids for the next 3 weeks.
Xbox needs some sponsored toilet paper right about now, bro.
Wait, or order a bunch of toilet paper on your business's dime so you don't have to go to the store to get some. Guess what? Because there's none available anywhere. Check out the tweet that I put online.
Check out his tweet. Gaming Forte, great to have you here, buddy.
Just use the shower. It's all pipes. Just
it's all pipes.
Welcome back, crap.
Waffle it down.
Yes,
that's all. Just
We're gonna
saying.
say that all night. Welcome back, crap.
Hey, thank you. It's good to be here, man. I am happy to be here.
If you run out of toilet paper, go get some paper towel. That's the next thing.
Let me do this real quick. I got shout out to one typical Latino so I don't fall behind on my super chats. It's great. He says I'm traveling right now because of work. Anyways, what's up, crap? One typical Latino also very excited that crap is back. Let me go to our next guy here. I want to get him on the intros before he's on his 8th beer. It's Enrique, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast Brap. Enrique, welcome back to the show, buddy. How you doing tonight?
Woo!
Woo!
Woo! I just want to say welcome back, Crap Gamer. Great to have you back.
You know, it's good to it is great to be back. Actually, I also want to thank a lot of people because a lot of people did send me messages while I was away, and I was very appreciative too because I was Mooch knew what was going on, but outside of Mooch, I don't think I told anybody.
I sent you a message. You never answered.
I did. I was like, I have what I was doing, man. I had to stay away from. I just assumed social media was going to be all negative, and so I was like, I'm going to stay off that crap for a while. You know what I mean? So, but
not a bad idea.
I ended up with like over 100 DMs and stuff. So it was like, but I'm happy to be back and doing this stuff and kind of dipping my toe in the water with the podcasting and stuff like that and see how it goes. So I am happy to be back, man. Good to see you too, man. And let's go.
Well, I appreciate that. And then let's get to our next very, very special guest from the great state of California himself. It's Life Finds a Way. Dark Optimist, you guys know him better as Goldblum. Goldblum, welcome back to the show, buddy. How you doing tonight?
I'm good until I found out that crap was going to be here, and I was like, God damn it!
Oh.
Because I know I'm not going to get a word in.
No,
it's
probably
good to have you
not.
back, crap.
Thank you.
Have you back.
Still great to have you here.
That's one big pile of shit. Right?
You gotta learn how to stick and move, baby. Get your stuff in and get out.
And then I got my buddy here, Eric J. Eric, the sensible, the knowledgeable person on staff tonight. Eric, always great to have you here for Common Sense, buddy. How you doing tonight?
Bro, I'm feeling good. I'm happy to be here as usual. And Mooch, man. First time you hit me up, nothing in the way, no cancellation,
right?
No rescheduling. It was like, yep, I'm there. Let's go.
Yo, that was crazy. That was the fastest. That was the fastest of all time.
Yeah, man.
Facts, brother.
So I was happy that nothing got in the way. So, I mean, considering everything that's going on, like school cancellations and the whole nine. And, I'm back on the night when crap is finally back. I haven't actually been on with him yet.
I appreciate that, man. I'm looking forward to doing this thing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Guys, do me a favor here.
The best of Brap.
We are going into our two special guests right here. And before I introduce them, please hit the retweet button. Let people know. Share it out. 201 people. Nobody can go to the movies. Nobody can go to a sporting event. It's just Mooch tonight. You're stuck with me. Let everybody know. Okay? And now I've got one of my special guests here. Not my first time.
Costco's closed.
Right? Not my first time podcasting with the great Optimus Code, but it is the first time on Crossfire. Optimus, welcome to the show, buddy, and thank you for being here tonight. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. I appreciate the invite and just listening to y'all interact. I am wondering what the hell have I got myself into.
No worse than you got into on Wednesday.
That's a good point as well.
Yeah, Optimus, you were on Brat, man. It's similar.
It's very similar.
You realize that 3 members of the Brat podcast
it's not even close to Brap. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Goldblum, of course, is the chime in.
Way better. I mean, what?
Wait, every once in a while, Xbox does turn into slow-mo backslap, and we got to put him in his place.
That needs slow-mo out of it.
Where is slow-mo?
Actually,
he'll probably join us in the chat later. I have a feeling slow-mo may be here, especially with our topics tonight. Me and slow-mo had a couple of difference of opinions this week, so I expect to see slow-mo in the chat later on. And then last but certainly not least here on the panel, I got my buddy here. Now, every once in a while, somebody will reach out to me and say, hey, Mooch, what's going on with this Crossfire gig you got going on? Huh? I wouldn't mind coming on and seeing what's going on. And that's the one and only Mr. Badbit. Mr. Badbit, a.k.a. Badbit. How you doing tonight, buddy? And I appreciate you being on the show.
Of course. And you know what? Everybody has awesome intros. And so I might have to just create one on the fly. So it's been 1,816 days since the game of the generation that has launched. And that is Bloodborne. And we planned a gosh dang sequel. Sony. All right, call Shu,
Oh,
get him on the
Lord.
phone. We need a Bloodborne 2. And yes, hi, my name is Mr.
Shu,
Badbit.
Shu can't help
I'm
you.
with Bad Bit on that. Let's
He's
go.
just doing indies now.
PlayStation podcast. So
That is
I'm
true.
happy to be here, guys.
Great to have you here. Listen, let's get into this first and foremost. I'm going to start with Crap, and then I'm going to immediately go to our special guest here, just because it's been too long since I've actually gotten a chance to go to BS with Crap here on this. Crap, our good friend Jason Schreier's back in the news.
Yeah, he's in the bushes. That's
Right? He was out there. He was waiting. I mean, you were discussing it. I think he caught an employee from Naughty Dog that didn't get fresh fries at In-N-Out Burger at lunch.
Yeah.
And they were quite disgruntled.
Hey, don't mess with In-N-Out, okay? In-N-Out is awesome.
I know,
okay?
I know. For you guys, it's like Thanksgiving. Listen, right? It's every day, right? It is. It's crazy. It's California living. But listen, over here we like home cooking in New York. Listen, my whole thing is this. So I've got a bunch of the tweets that went through back and forth. Some of them by Jason Schreier, some of them by a gentleman by the name of, I'm getting his name here, Jonathan Cooper, who's an ex-employee of Naughty Dog. And then there's others involved here. Crap. Basically, he's saying that, you know, there is crunch, maybe not in his direct department that he worked in, but in other departments, and that people had to go to recovery a week after, major health issues with people working and stressing out so much. Myself personally, Crap, I just want to say this much. There's so many great people in the world that work, I don't care if it's from construction, that have monthly deliverables. Some people have weekly deliverables. Even college kids that have last minute, right? I mean, my entire college career was crunching. Okay.
I mentioned that. I was like, I'm not comparing developers to doctors and stuff like that, but you know, doctors work double shifts, 12, 16 hours. You know what I'm saying? Police officers, like construction workers, college students. You know, even teachers. You know, they're home and they're grading papers, they're setting out a lesson plan. Like it's more than just an 8-hour type of job. I believe Xbot's wife is even doing an 18-hour day or whatever. This is just part of life, and I don't understand why people were saying that it's like such a bad thing to do this crunch. Like for me personally, if you like this guy's tweets, his past tweets have come out. He worked at Naughty Dog for 5 years and kicked me out or whatever, right? And this was just a year ago. So, you know, he's disgruntled or whatever. You have to take that kind of stuff with a grain of salt. This is they're not crunching all the time. Usually it's within the last, you know, few months or whatever. And that's just something that comes with the territory, no matter the job. If you want something to be quality, you have to put in the time and the effort to do it. Now, a good example is I read the Kotaku article. I read the article. They're basically saying Naughty Dog games are near perfection because of this. Right? Like the simple things, the little things. And these games are always in the game of the year running. These games are, you know, near perfect to perfect. And they do this consistently, like every single game. Now, are they trying to say that it's bad to do that because somebody's got to work till 9 o'clock at night? You know, like there's nobody that's being forced to do this. There's other jobs out there. That was my main thing. You know what I mean? This was something like they choose to do this. And then at the end of it all, you get this great game that's probably going to sell 20 million copies and win Game of the Year. Like that's a huge accomplishment. And I just feel like he was maybe a little bit salty or whatever. And then, of course, Druckmann came back today and kind of fired back about how he loves the arts. And look at the animation, people. Look at the animations. People were praising the animations in The Last of Us 2 when we first saw that bit of gameplay a couple years ago, right?
Yes.
So they know what they're doing. I have no problem with them doing this. If the alternative is what Microsoft is doing, right, then I would much prefer them people busting their ass a little bit and doing the Sony way, okay? Just to be real, look.
Crap,
and this guy got real.
First crunch.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, hey, everybody, it's margarita time, and let's go, you know, wear onesies and stuff.
That sounds like my kind of place to work, though. I'm not
well, you wonder why they're leaving and going to Redmond.
Games, bro.
Yeah, but check this out. It's just like for me personally, I think that you know, trying not to do it or, you know, let people only work a few days a week, that's not the answer either. You know, there's probably somewhere in the middle to meet.
Brother, we don't necessarily when it went like I don't know why we swung it over to Xbox here, but the thing about this is as people are learning to become developers, they're getting into an industry that this has always been a thing. So they're gearing up to be a part of an industry where there is going to be that quote unquote crunch going towards the end of the game. Now, Nobody has said it's gotten substantially worse than, like maybe 5 years ago or anything like that. So to me, without anybody saying it's gotten that much worse or anything, it's pretty much on the same standard. These developers, these people who are on contract for developing a game, they know what they're getting into. And the last time I heard, these studios are packed with everything. You got absolute awesome food.
You have
there.
gyms. You got they probably got beds. They got they probably got a full kitchen, and it's not like they're just stuck in a room. Now it's funny because I'm a big Simpsons fan. The first few seasons of The Simpsons, the writers were all crammed in these rooms, smoking cigarettes, eating pizza for like 16, 18 hours a day, and the show was hilarious. It's one of those things. And one of the things that he said was, the reason Naughty Dog games aren't good because of talent. They're good because Sony. They fund them and all this kind of stuff. That is absolutely hilarious to hear that, because nobody in the industry has more money than Microsoft, and they seem to give developers tons of time and tons of money now, and the games for the most part, their AAA stuff, even the stuff like Gears 5 didn't live up to the hype, and Crackdown 3, that took 5 years to make, and they put extra money in that, man. And that game didn't come out any better.
Hold on, so can I jump in here? Because this is a lot of misinformation.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
All right, so it's a lot of misinformation going around, and I need to be able to say this without y'all cutting me off and interrupting me. So
go
I'll
ahead,
go
Optimus.
as long as I
man.
can.
Optimus
So
worked on Pong.
see, trash like that. So my girlfriend, because I'm a software engineer and because I work with my mind instead of physically, like construction or something, she always accuses me of having like an easy job and all these benefits, and it's like this little cushy job. And she refuses to accept that working with your brain is much more difficult than working with your hands. And I am not downplaying working with your hands, but I told her we couldn't switch jobs because you would quit this job if you had it within the first day, because the amount of mental pressure that is on you every hour of every day is just like enormous. So let me start there. So when I was working on my first video game, we had crunch, and we had crazy crunch. When I say crazy crunch, I mean like y'all saying they work 16 hours a day until 9 o'clock at night. We moved out of our homes and we moved into the studio where we were building the game. And because she was my girlfriend, she came as well, and they tried to find some little job for her to do. And we literally lived there, and we would go home once a week to take a shower and get cleaned up, unless you're going to take a whole bath, which y'all might not know what that means. But
Sure do.
Okay, so you take a whole bath, but then when you want to get cleaned up for real, we would go home once a week. So the crunch for us was real. But the thing is, it was one of the best times of my life. And because it didn't seem like we was working, we were really excited to be making a video game.
Thank you.
This is the industry that we wanted to be in. We knew our game was going to be good. We knew we were doing things. We had the technological advantage in a lot of areas. So we were just excited.
Question for you though.
Go ahead, Babbitt.
Has that passion? I don't know your catalog of games that you've made. So has that passion still been there?
Oh, so yeah, so that's why I said let me talk without being interrupted. Right. So again, it was fun at first. In the beginning, it was great. But as time went on and as it became less voluntary and more mandatory, and y'all know how it works. We may not tell you that you have to stay, but we're communicating it clearly that you have to stay without using those words. And so it became an issue because, okay, we said it's going to be for a month. So everybody digs in and they go for a month. And I think this is the thing that was their main complaint. It's not that they don't want to crunch. It is excessive crunch. And a good buddy of mine, he was working for Volition, and he just walked out because they were supposed to be in crunch for a month, and they had been in 7 months of crunch.
Jesus Christ.
And it was 80-hour weeks, so they were working double. And again, to do it for a little while, of course, that's just normal, I think, in any industry. My wife, she had tax season. She was an accountant, and she had to work crazy hours during tax season, but it was limited, and then there was this recovery period. So I think the issue is that, from what I understand, with their culture, the crunch became excessive, and it wasn't just a normal amount of crunch. And I think that's what they're complaining about.
But Optimus, I know
trying to make it better.
They
just kept relying on the employees to put in that excessive crunch.
The thing about it, though, Optimus, is I got to interrupt just slightly here. Is that I happen to have family that is not developers, okay, but they're in the restaurant business. And let me tell you something. When you're doing 650 plates at dinner in New York, all right, you got to get in around, even if you're the night sous chef or the night chef, okay, you're still coming in at about 11 a.m. and you don't leave till 4.
I hear you.
Every day is crunch in the restaurant business, okay? If you've been in New York City, L.A., Dallas, I don't care. Name a big city, all right? Name a small city. When people want to come in, they want to be served, they want to eat, okay? They expect excellence. They expect perfection. And they expect you to cook the plate the way that they desire it nightly. When you have something like 5 years to create a game, and then there's that crunch, whether it be for 7 months, 6 months, 2 months, 1 year, that's part of the game. And I don't mean the game we play. It's part of the game that they call work.
Why do you think that?
Because that's just the nature of the business. Happens with our what about our ambulances? What about our ambulances? Our cops?
1 year. 1 year is very excessive when it comes.
Yeah,
to
man.
Here's the thing, and I know
they're not doing crunch for 6 years.
It's an issue for developers because developers, they want to unionize.
Right.
So obviously there is something being done here within the industry. Like I said, I have no proof on whether or not it's gotten overly excessive. But I do know that when people are training to be developers, you do know about that angle. But with what Optimus said, going from 1 month,
I don't doubt,
ended up being 7 months. I mean,
I don't doubt what Optimus is saying one bit. What I'm saying is I
think they should unionize that.
But
point,
that's fine. That's fine.
Let me say something real quick, man. So there was a time when I left software engineering, and it was because, long story short, I was called this racial slur. They didn't think that I was in the lab, and so they called me this racial slur. And when I heard it, I was sort of disenchanted with the whole thing. So I left, and I went and worked construction for 2 years, because the people in construction was just more real, more down to earth. And I will tell you with certainty, I would rather work 2 hours of construction doing physical labor, pouring concrete in the sun, than 2 weeks in 1 week. So basically 80 hours. I would rather do 80 hours of overtime doing construction, working physically with my body, than to do that same 80 hours working with my brain. They are not the same. It is much more taxing.
But wait a second. What happens when you're sitting there and you're a surgeon and you're on the night shift in the ER, okay? And just the last 15 patients that came in, okay, had just a flesh wound, okay? And then all of a sudden, when there's only a half an hour left on your shift, somebody comes in and needs major surgery that's going to require 4.5 to 5 hours.
Sure.
Okay.
Again,
so what I'm trying to say to you though here, Optimus, is this: I'm not disagreeing.
That's a one-off, right?
But hear me out.
Yeah, right.
It's not
a
one-off.
1 day of work.
That's somebody. It's also somebody's life hanging in the midst. Where this is somebody getting an extra one up when they hug a tree. Listen.
No. It is illegal for a surgeon to work so many hours uninterrupted without rest.
That's
the
true.
scenario that you're describing is, okay, I have to work longer 1 day or 2 days. We're taling months without a single day off.
What I think what I'm trying to do here, and then I want to get Eric and I want to get Brap involved here too, is that my point is not that you're wrong, Optimus. I think your points are so clear and they're so concise. But the issue I have here is you've got people running around in the gaming journalism world, okay, and they're making it sound like these folks are doing something that a lot of us aren't doing. We're all doing this. Like I have deadlines,
I don't
and
think
at the
we
end,
are all doing it to the degree that they are, and that's what I'm.
well, some are more and some are a little less. But when it comes down to it, we all have problems. And listen, let me tell you this much too. When you guys go to sign up, I don't care what you're doing for a living. There's a position description that you applied for. And I can guarantee you that the position description at Naughty Dog or any of these developing teams says that they don't use the word crunch, but they say overtime will be mandatory at some point in this job. And you know what you say? You look at the salary, you're like, I'll take it. Right? So if you're okay to accept the money and sign that, it's part of the job. If you don't like it, you don't have to work there. And, I know that sounds easier than it is, but that goes for all of us. Ask anybody on Monday morning, wherever you are, at any place you pick up your local coffee at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Hey, are you excited to go to work? Someone's going to be like, shut the hell up! You know what I mean? Like, nobody is excited to go to work. So what I'm trying to say to you is these people are paid well. It's a great industry. And let me say that I want to say one more thing here. These folks that are saying that they're complaining and it's awful, well, when these games go gold and they're all eating filet mignon and they're popping the best of the pop bubbly and they're like, I love this place, and everybody's giving Neil Druckmann a noogie. They're like, yeah, we got him. We love this guy. It's great. Right? Which story is it? Is it the one 7 months before they went gold and everybody's miserable? Or is it the one where they're carrying Neil Druckmann and Corey Balrog on their shoulders being like, I'll do anything for you, man? Okay,
well,
so it's the same group of people.
Really exists. I think that the article was very telling in that the majority of people that worked at Naughty Dog no longer work there.
I was going to say 70% of the people are new.
That's the people that worked on Uncharted, and Uncharted is not being made by Naughty Dog anymore.
I want to make a quick comment about that 70. So this hits close to me because of the work that I do. I'm a talent acquisition manager. I've worked for, more recently, one of the bigger finance management consulting firms, Big Four. And we have crunch in that industry. It's audit season. And we had the same issue with turnover where people were, and we were always upfront about it. And Naughty Dog is actually very upfront during the interview process, which is good. They're setting that expectation of, if you come here, this is what the company culture is like. So people know going into Naughty Dog what the expectation is. And you have to do that. If you want people to buy into what you're trying to do as an organization, you need to be transparent up front. And they have done that. So there's a couple things here. There's an issue when people are being hospitalized, for being overwhelmed mentally, whatever the case is, they're having mental breakdowns. I think that's something that should be addressed because that's clearly an issue. Something's going on internally where people are hitting a point where they're breaking. That's never good for an organization because at the end of the day, that actually affects the bottom line. It does. If your people aren't happy, they're not productive, that's going to impact the company and the company be able to produce whatever it is they're producing. But at the same time, that 70% of people that have left, we don't know in the article why they left. I don't think Jason really drilled down. I think as I read it, my assumption and my interpretation of what he's trying to say is that perhaps those people left because of the crunch, but we don't know why they left. And I can tell you that and I'm going back to just my experience at Big Four. When you're in Big Four, you are consistently bombarded with whether it's industry or other regional accounting firms, public accounting firms. They are constantly going after those people. Why? Because those people are the cream of the crop. And I think potentially what's happening here too, as I read this article, we don't know why that 70% left. But if I'm guessing, maybe some of it had to do with disgruntled employees, because you will have that. You will have employees that get there. I think like Optus mentioned, I got there, it was great, but after a while it was enough. I've had that own personal experience early on in my career when I was in the agency side of staffing, which it was great. I was making a ton of money, but I got tired of being cussed at. I got tired of people trying to steal money. I got tired of that. And I just said, you know what, I'm done. And I could see that. But I also think, though, the other part to people leaving Naughty Dog is I think that Naughty Dog is a big name in the industry, right? You go to Naughty Dog, I guarantee you as a developer, you're probably getting a lot of calls from internal corporate recruiters saying, hey, we got this opportunity for you at Ubisoft. We love what you've done with Uncharted 4. Do you want to come and sit down and have a conversation? And they're going to do their damnedest to get you out of Naughty Dog because of the quality of work that Naughty Dog has done. So when they look at games like Uncharted 4, they look at games like The Last of Us, in the industry at least, they're looking at, we need to get these people, we need to poach Naughty Dog because they clearly have the best of the industry based on the output of work that they're doing. Now, again, I'm not trying to say that people, being burned out or going to, the hospital, that stuff needs to be addressed. And I think that it will. I think the industry is kind of at a point right now where you have what we're seeing across, at least in the job market, because I have this conversation a lot with hiring managers. We have different generations in the job, in the workforce. They all have different expectations. We have the millennials, we have the baby boomers, we have Generation X. I can tell you guys, they all have different expectations.
Generation X, baby.
No, I mean, they do. I mean, baby boomers are like, you know what? We need to get this fucking job done, whatever the case is. We have to stay till like, we have to work 15-hour days. We'll do it. I've seen that firsthand. I was with a company that went through a big merger acquisition. We had people in accounting working 17-hour days to make sure that the merger went through. They were doing this for like 8 months. And these guys would come in with bags under their eyes. But I think in part, it's a different mentality too. I think you're probably seeing, if I had to guess, more than likely, you're probably seeing younger developers, people with that mindset of, and Optimus, we talked about this in DM, the millennials have a different expectation of work. They want work quality of life. They don't want to work 80 hours.
They're way more entitled.
Yeah. Yes, and if I'm going to work 80 hours, I better be the goddamn president of this company after this project's over. I mean, so I think the industry, like other industries, is going to have to start shifting and addressing some of these issues, and maybe addressing the thing of working these 7-hour or 7-month crunches, like Optimus said, because eventually they will lose people. But then, it's an interesting dynamic. You may lose people, but then you lose people, you bring on contractors. And that's the other piece that I think, I forget the guy's name who tweeted. He talked about all the contractors.
Yeah, he did. Jonathan Cooper.
And I think in IT and game development, you typically, anything that's project-based, at least in my experience, especially with IT or technology, a lot of it is project-based because you're typically not going to keep that headcount on your payroll during downtime. It just financially doesn't make sense for you to do that.
I want to point out what this guy Cooper says too, and here's his quote. He says, "The truth is, I have no awful crunch tale. The story animators, as we were known, were averaging 46 hours a week when I left. I personally never went over 55 hours. The Naughty Dog story team is super organized, and we reacted to whatever was thrown at us. That's not to say others weren't suffering." He says, "The reason I left is because I only want to work with the best. That is no longer Naughty Dog. The reputation for crunch within LA is so bad, it was near impossible to hire seasoned contract game animators to close out the project. As such, we loaded up on film animators." So this guy now works for EA. So he wanted to work for the best and then goes and works for EA.
I thought that was kind of funny because EA does not have a great reputation.
Yeah, and then he's only working 46 hours a week. That's
but
that's
hold
not
on,
crunch.
But here's the thing, though. What does it say about the culture of Naughty Dog if someone would think EA is an upgrade? So
here's the thing, and let me. I want to give credit where credit's due. I saw this before, but Eric, thank you, Eric, for bringing this to my attention. The same person at Game ANIM, whatever his name is, there's Jonathan Cooper. Basically, he wrote this I believe it was a year ago. He wrote 5 years at Naughty Dog today. I plan to stay as long as they keep letting me push the envelope in video game animation, smiley face. Now, my point being here is that this sounds to me, especially after hearing what Crap just read and what Eric just pointed out to me, and Eric, I'll ask you. Eric, does this just sound more like a disgruntled employee more than this? You know what I mean? Like, he saw that there's the whole crunch topic going on, and he thought maybe this was the best time to pile on?
Yeah, that's kind of what some of it came across to me. And look, I'm not going to fault the dude for kind of highlighting some things. I mean, he was inside. We weren't inside.
We were not there.
It started leading me to think about the whole thing around the cancel culture. And I talked to Enrique about this earlier, and I said, if you look at the profiles of the crunch stories that we've gotten, it's from the best of the best high-profile studios, right? And maybe Code can speak to this a bit too, but we don't know what's going on in some of the lower-level studios where people could be getting crunched even worse. Because they don't have as big of a team, going forward, right? So I know it's gaming centric and this is what we talk about, but I watched this thing where people start to white knight for the dev. And I'm like, just like I think maybe Crap might have said, and I think you may have said it, Mooch. I'm like, how many people are sitting at a crap job right now where they're like crunching?
Yeah.
And they're being taken advantage of. They may not even be getting the overtime.
Many of
but
us,
they're still
Eric,
putting in the hours, right?
That's right.
And I'll speak to what Code said. Coming from, I worked in advertising for a long time, right? I've had moments where I've worked a 24-hour day to get a book done because my producer forgot to put in the right schedule, and they're like, well, we still got to get it done.
Right.
All right, and here comes Eric, same salary. I'll just sleep in the sample room before my head hits the desk because, like Code said, there's a different level of function that you're doing there where things are starting to run together. It is taxing when you're using your mind in that kind of way. So he does have a point on that too, right? But the thing that started kind of standing out to me is, okay, it's great to have compassion. I'm all for having compassion for people and what they do. But at the same time, it's like, how much are we going to white knight here? Because like Crap pointed out, we have teachers. My wife's a teacher. And they're not always equipped, from a salary base to deal with your badass kids all day long.
Woo! Not my kids.
Oh man, you know my kids.
And
the twins.
14 of them.
And because I work in the school system now, like I kind of like Code said, I did advertising and design for so long and felt that abuse and felt how it was just like, yo, we're having a boss who was power tripping and saying like, I think we should come in and work on this over the weekend. Well, you guys should. I'm going to be off hanging out somewhere, but you guys should come in here and do this. And I was like, okay, well, I'm obligated to do it. Why? Because I'm salary and I need my job, right? But at the same time, I chose to do that. No one put a gun to my head to do that until I had the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm done doing that. And I'm going to go find this other job. And I decided to work in the school board for a while to help kids, right? But I watched my wife. I watched teachers who work their shift, right? Doesn't stop there because then they may have parent-teacher conversation. Then they may have kids they have to help. Then they have tutoring. Some have aftercare. Then they go home and they plan out they have to plan out for the next day, plan out for the week, do all the grades, answer the emails from the parents who are bitching at them all day long, who won't come in.
And that's at night after they worked all day.
Exactly. Goes into the weekend. And then people say, well, no, man, that's awesome, man. You guys get summers off. No, because they don't get their full pay because guess what they had to do? They had to say, I'm going to portion out the summer, so I'm covered over the summer. I don't get paid for the summer. I can take all my money now, or I can portion it out, right? Yes. And then they're doing all that, and guess what some of them are doing too? They're going to a second job.
Absolutely. I know a lot of teachers. That's true.
Now, I know people will say, well, you don't have to do that either, but I kind of look at teaching as a calling job. Like my wife was a lawyer before she went to teaching.
Yeah.
Right. And she said she was not about the lawyer life. She did not like doing billable hours on people for work that wasn't done. And it's a whole different story with that. Right. So she was called to teach. You don't do teaching just because it's a thing to do.
Yeah.
When you don't have,
and
depending on your
the
district,
reason,
you don't have the support.
And let me tell you something, Eric,
out of your pocket.
I'm really glad you shared that story. A lot of times, here's the thing too. We all kind of get wrapped up on Twitter because, we all discuss things. Twitter gives you the ability to talk to so many different developers and platform presidents, CEOs, right? People can talk to them, and you have to be careful what you say because the minute you say something, they'll be like, "Oh, what is wrong? You don't have any compassion for the developers?"
Right.
Like, no, we do.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I think we drew a line and then we jumped over. And, I just want to read this real quick. Shout out to Neil Druckmann, who very, very, I think in a class act, tried to respond to the chaos that went down yesterday. He said, even after years of working on it, I believe he's referring to, of course, The Last of Us 2, I'm still blown away by the animation in Part 2. We have one of, if not the best animation teams in the industry, both in raw animation skill and technology knowledge. Can't wait for you to experience their incredible work. And that, of course, is the same group within Naughty Dog that I believe Jonathan Cooper worked for.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
go ahead, Enrique. But there was a woman by Moraine Hayden. I may be saying her name wrong, but she works at Naughty Dog. She said, "Thank you, proud to be a part of it." And there's an employee. Not just a stockholder. Okay, she's an employee, and she's saying, "I can't wait to go back to work." Go ahead, Enrique.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mooch. That Jonathan Cooper, he was there for 5 years. My experience has been that when somebody's at an organization for 5 years, they bought in.
Yes.
They're not disgruntled. I think what maybe just based off my experience, I think what probably happened with Jonathan. He probably felt maybe some internal things happened. Maybe he felt like more junior people were coming in. He didn't want to deal with that. Maybe it just wasn't a good cultural fit for him. I think a lot of people don't realize culture and a cultural fit is very important for both sides of the equation here.
A lot of what ifs right there, bro.
No, it's not. I mean, but it's a cultural fit is big. I mean, you can have all the hard skills per se, but if the soft skills, if your own personal values don't align with the company's values, you could be the most talented developer in the world. It's never going to work out. And so I think some of these people, when you hear some of these people complain too, because I've seen this in my business, sometimes you do have to take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes it is legitimate, but often what I've seen is that when people are talking bad about an organization, it wasn't so much that the organization was toxic. And I'm not saying that never happens, but most of the time with my experience, what I've seen is that it just wasn't a good cultural fit, meaning that person's values and that company's values didn't mesh well.
So let me jump in there, Enrique. I know you wasn't finished and I'm being rude, but like I really want to capitalize on that because that's 100% true. Like I told y'all, it was fun for me at first, but eventually I was like, this is not for me. And I got out of game development. Why? I had the skills, but I could make more money working less. I'd be a fool not to do it. Making games was fun, but my lifestyle for me mandated that I do something different. And the place that I worked, it did have a great culture and they did everything they could to lessen the load of crunch, but I just wasn't having it.
Yeah, Optimus, that's the thing. That's the thing. Let me say this real quick, Enrique. You're not entitled to a quality of life. You have to find your quality of life.
Yes. That was my point.
Am I down with this or is this too much? And there's nothing wrong with either one. You might be that person that's built for that. And you're like, you know what? This is what I want to do. I'm good with it. And it may not, it doesn't make you a bad or it's not a negative. It's just you have to decide for yourself, is this where I want to be? Like, it's, I'm enjoying a part of it, but when I go home, my hair's falling out in the same.
Yeah. To Optimus' point too, I think of that article Jason Schreier mentioned that some of the more senior folks that were at Naughty Dog, so that they couldn't do the crunch anymore. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, at some point as you get older, you get married, you have a family, your priorities change. I mean,
absolutely.
I was working 12, 13, 14-hour days on call on the weekends, making a shitload of money and under a lot of pressure to drive revenue. And at some point I had kids. And I was like, fuck this, I'm done.
At certain points, you don't feel it that way. Because I didn't feel it when I was doing the 24-hour shifts.
It's funny. I had mentioned on Twitter yesterday that I think my thing that I said was anything that's worthwhile is going to take time and effort. And people were just like putting words in my mouth. So you don't think these people they shouldn't care about their families? Is that what you're saying, crap? And I'm like, no. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you don't care about their health? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, you got to put in hard work and then you get something, by doing that. Like when I was younger, man, my first job where I was had worked myself up at a kennel and I had become kennel manager and the lead dog trainer. I was very young, like 18 years old. And I was working 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then 8 a.m. till 3 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. And I didn't even think about it. You know what I mean? Like I was taught early on, if you ever want to work at something and you want to get in someplace, you work harder than everybody else there, longer, you go in earlier, days when everybody else. And I started off at that job one day a week as like a 16-year-old kid. I was working just Sundays, and then other people started not coming in, and I'd get the call, boom, I'd drive down there in my little Chevette. You know what I mean? Like that was how I got in there. And then within 2 years, I was running the place because I was willing to put in the hours and the time and the effort that other people weren't. And, I think has everything to do with how people are raised and stuff like that. So for me personally, I just think that it's kind of ridiculous to see people, just, you don't care about their health.
Well, let me say one more thing, y'all. This would be my last thing on this topic. I know we got to move on. One thing that I did notice though, from my experience, even my experience now as a software engineer, I pretty much manage software developers now, and I get to do a little bit of development myself. One thing you got to take into account is the average software developer is not like the people on this panel. They're a little more introverted and they won't like stand up for themselves. Like you'll say, well, just do this or that. That's not going to happen because they're not built that way. And so a lot of times you will need someone that's more outspoken like me to represent for the group. And I'm certain that within Naughty Dog or any other organization, if you got 70% of your people or have left, or 70% of this staff has left, there is a reason for that. And I think the reason that this guy may be advocating for the developers there, or whatever it is because he understands they're not going to speak up for themselves, and he probably doesn't like them being taken advantage of. I don't think he wants an overreaction. I think he just wants to bring attention to something that the normal person would think, oh, just do this.
And you know what? I before we leave the subject, I do want to get Mr. Bad Bits a point on this. But Wilmy, I want to do a real quick shout out and thank you to the super chat. Wilmy Hood, Major Mooch Maniac, Wilmy Hood. He says, military, first responders, teachers, construction workers, chefs, and even that waitress you didn't leave a tip for last night. A lot of people have to crunch hours for their profession. Wilmy, if anything at all, thank you for that. That's all I'm trying to really get in this segment, is that you see people saying these things, and I understand that, just like Optimus Code just said. This gentleman, by the way, bravo to Jonathan Cooper. I think Jonathan Cooper did the right thing. But all I'm saying, though, is that what Jonathan put a spotlight on, and what Jason Schrader's been trying to put a spotlight on for many, many months, especially when the news is slow, is this crunch. And I just want to bring up that it's something that we all deal with time and time again. So thank you, Wilmy. But Mr. Badbit, I do want to come to you and say, what's your take on this from everything you read, everything from Jonathan Cooper's statements to what you're hearing on the panel right now?
So interesting. Also, Optimus, thank you for your input, because I think a lot of us here are talking through perspective, because what's going on for us is rather nebulous, because I don't know what it's like to be a web developer. Like, we have ideas of what it is. Yeah, like I've heard that there's a gym in this place and there's a bed in that place, and this is going to be fine and excellent. But the fact of the matter is, it is nebulous because we have an idea. We don't have a firm concept of what the day-to-day of a software designer or a map designer, whatever the case may be, is like. And so when we hear stories, and it looks like it's a lot of the story narrative people of like, I'm working 100-hour work weeks for 6 months straight. Well, that's not good. That's not healthy. The one thing that you brought up, Mooch, is like, being a chef. Well, that industry and the gaming industry have one thing in common, and that is insane amount of turnover. I think the lifespan of a dev in the gaming industry is like 4 or 5 years, and then they're just out doing software development.
They're like a running back in the NFL?
Kind of like that. I don't know sports, so I'm going to take your word for
it.
Sports!
But nonetheless, no, go ahead, Mr. Babbitt.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing here is like, Jonathan Cooper's not doing this for attention. He doesn't want the fame. Obviously, there was a bridge burned, but at the same exact time, you do have people that are that have that passion, right? And we can't argue that are, like the one developer that had Neil's back today, of just like, I'm proud of what I've done. This is a lot of work that I've made, and I can't wait for everybody to see it. Like, there's talks within my community. One of my fans was kind of irked by this news, and they're like, I don't know if I could support this game. I'm like, well, that's not the way. Don't cancel your pre-order because of this. That's a little bit extreme. I think what needs to happen is that there needs to be an honest talk between developers and management about crunch, and understand that nobody's saying that it's unnecessary. Nobody's saying like, look, there's going to be days. I used to work at GameStop. There would be days where I'm working 50, 60 hours. Right. And they don't tell you have to, but it's insinuated you have to, and you do it. But when it's for 6, 7, 8, 9 months, and even I think the BioWare one was like a year, when you have people like just freaking out and having like rooms dedicating to crying and having mental breakdowns, that's a lot. Like, not a lot of people talk about the fact that the creative director of Red Dead Redemption, after that game came out, took a year off and then decided to quit right afterwards. So there is a problem with crunch, and I think I applaud Jason for going out here and making these stories and trying to shine a light on giving us at least a concept of what a developer's life is like. And it's not totally romantic, but at the same exact time, it is nebulous because we have no idea. And we're all just talking out of our ass because we.
Well,
we,
Mr. Babbitt, I think you're right. None of us, except for Optimus Code, has that experience. So, and that's why Optimus's story goes further than anybody else's. And I won't pretend to know. My only thing I'm trying to say is that you have to also respect all the other careers out there that ask for you to do that same amount of, I'll use the word crunch, that they're doing. And that's all I'm trying to bring to a light here, Bad. But it's not that I don't have compassion for them. I certainly do. But I mean, here's a situation where you had the game was supposed to release and I'm talking about The Last of Us 2, was supposed to release in February. They already have one delay. Okay, so the delay moves it to May. It really is just not a good showing for the developer, the team, or the game itself if it's pushed back again. So they must have had an internal meeting and said, guys, what do you guys feel comfortable with? Can you guys all picture this? Let's say we're all part of Naughty Dog right now. I stand up and I say, guys, can you please go around the room and let me know just how long am I supposed to call Sony corporate and tell them that we need an extension for? And they probably went around and they probably took the longest lead time that wasn't ridiculous, right? And they said 3 months. And they went with the 3-4, what was it, from February to March, basically. And it's almost 4 months, to be honest with you. But let's say, so they said that was what they needed to polish it and make it right. Now we all know, and Optimus will definitely back me up here, there was definitely some crunch involved in those last 4 months. You can guarantee it, whether we all know that business or we don't.
Every time I hear crunch, I think Nestle Crunch, man.
Absolutely.
I think
right?
Nestle Crunch are so gross, though, man. Yeah, Captain Crunch. Give me the Captain Crunch. Yeah, not the Nestle.
Since you brought that up, let me get to that real quick. So what would happen would be they wouldn't consult the dev team. That wouldn't happen at all. So what would happen is they were already doing crunch for that first deadline, realized they weren't going to make it. What they would do then would be go to the publisher, who, since it's first party, they would meet with their Sony reps or whatever it was. It would be a business decision. Hey, what's a different date? What else is going on? What's in our release schedule? Okay, you have to release in this window, and then we'll pay to get you more resources. But the dev team doesn't get to decide anything. That's all at the publisher level. And then they will just try to get you more people.
Yeah. It's very nebulous. And Luke Lore was in the chat and he's a teacher. And like Eric, like what you're saying with your wife, like the job's not done. Every job has its area of not just crunch, but their own issues, their own struggles. And the one thing that a lot of teachers have in at least in New Jersey is strong unions. So they'll be like, yeah, we can crunch, but we also have something called tenure. Like there's the gives and takes, there's ebbs and flows.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, everybody does, like, okay, like I'll give you an example. A few years ago or a couple of years ago, and I think Mooch was there for most of this, we did on E3, must have podcasted for 14, 15 hours that day, like on other people's channels too. So we're not getting anything from that, just helping people out. And we could have said no if we wanted to. Man, my ass was on fire. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have to do any of that stuff, but it was just like, you help people out and you just go out there and you do it. And I felt good afterwards. I was like, damn, we went out there and gave our opinion.
Absolutely.
And, we had literally thousands of people listening to our opinion about what was going on about E3 and stuff like that. I felt good about it. And, I was tired and I slept good, but it was like, I felt good too, So again, I think it's
they make you do that for 7 months and you can't sleep and it's your way of life.
Hey, if they're paying me, a good salary, I will figure out a way.
Crab's like, show me the money.
Yeah, I would have to get the money. And like like living here in Florida, my bumpkin ass has a different idea of what good money is, man. So to show me, like $50,000-$75,000 a year. And I would do that, like
that's the thing that wouldn't work because let's say you work $50,000 a year on a 40-year schedule, but then if you work in 80 hours, that's down to 25. And so that's really what they want. The developers want either pay us the full value or make this more reasonable. They're not saying that.
Optimus, when it comes down to it, though, and I know it's just a comedy that's out there, but I have friends that live out there that are in the business, and they tell me it's a comedy, but it's so funny because it's true. Silicon Valley, that's that business. When you move out there to be with the land of the beautiful out there in California, that's why I'm talking to you, Goldblum. All right, out there, when you're out there, it's a very expensive place to live. Everybody, it's cutthroat. It's not just Hollywood anymore. Now people are trying to make it in Silicon. My point being is this. That's what it is. That's why there's so many garage developing teams being built and being acquired. And if you don't believe me, ask Microsoft. They're grabbing all of them. I mean, my point being is that it's really just a point of cutthroat out there. And if you don't want the job and you don't want to put in the hours, there's somebody else that will, Optimus. Therein lies the issue. I do want to move on to our next subject here. And I do want to say first and foremost, thank you so much. And welcome back, Hollow Point 555555557, formerly known as Rumple's
Sir Luca.
He's back. He
Sir X-Man, excuse me. Give it to Luca. My bad, I'm rusty.
It's all right. You get a good couple of weeks, crap, to get it back. And upgraded to VIP Mooch Maniac. Thank you so much, Hollow Point. I appreciate that. And shout out to the great VIP Mooch Maniac, VIP Biggie2316. He says, hi, Mooch and panel. In my opinion, this is what happens when everyone gets trophies. Sometimes you just have to put on your big boy pants. You know what? Biggie, I'm kind of there with you, to be honest with you. And Sir X-Man, great to have the Mooch Maniac, Sir X-Man here. He says, wow, Crap's back. Absolutely. Crap was never gone. He's always here in spirit.
Crap, that's your cue now. Give it. Come on.
Give it to Luca.
There you go.
It's probably the best impression.
Give it to Luca.
I bet you could do a Sir X-Man. That's just fantastic. I love it. Guys, I want to bring this up. So E3, along with pretty much work, school, anything else, NBA, MLB, NHL has been canceled due to you know why. But my point being here is, what does this mean? I want to kind of break this down into two here. First thing is first, and I'll start with Goldblum. Goldblum, because this is happening, this issue of E3 being canceled is happening in the great, and I say great.
Goldblum chimes in at exactly 1 hour past the time the podcast started.
Life has a way.
I've been chiming in, but you've been interrupting me, so.
Oh, wow! Goldblum!
I've always interrupted Goldblum, man.
He does. And I'm trying to give Goldblum the mic down. Crap did it again. It's great. So, Goldblum, E3's canceled over there in the great state of California. What does this mean moving forward for E3? You think this is just kind of a blip in the road that E3 will be back next year?
Yeah, it'll be back. I can't see it like completely going away for the foreseeable future. I could see it them like, maybe doing I honestly I could see them going down with the ship, to be honest. Like once they get only like a few thousand people, I think they'll be like, okay, we're done. We're not going to do it anymore. I can't see E3 coming back next year and nobody going. I could see a lot of people actually going. I know several people who have already talked about it and said they're going next year if they have it. They were really upset this year that they weren't going to have it, but they understood because of the whole thing that's going on right now, and it makes sense that that they canceled it, because I mean it's a serious situation that's going on right now in the world.
Absolutely.
I just want to say, when it comes to E3 though, I think that everybody's going to do a digital event, and the people at home aren't going to miss a beat. To be honest with you, they're probably going to do their digital events at the same time they would have done their E3 events. Yes. And us at home are going to enjoy the games that they're showing off and stuff like that. And it's not going to miss a beat. And so that could really put a hamper on it, because if you look at it, EA and Sony and Nintendo, they're already doing something different. So it really is just Microsoft and Ubisoft and, some of these other smaller publishers and stuff. So I think that they can save money by doing it. As long as they're doing some kind of at first when Nintendo started doing the digital things, I was like, that sucks. I really missed them at E3. But when you watch their events, they're straight to the point. It's like, and then they still have the after thing where they're in the treehouse.
Still at E3 though, they still have a booth. They still have people playing their games. Like my whole thing about this is a place where everybody, no matter if you prefer PlayStation, Xbox, PC, Switch, or whatever, a place where everybody comes together, like Gamescom, stuff like that. I feel like those are necessary. And with them doing their presentations for what's coming into the future, it kind of keeps these companies with all the journalists over there, all the gamers over there, if they're doing something or if they're saying something that isn't necessarily true, they get called out. Where if these companies are controlling their own digital shows and everything like that, who's there to say, well, that wasn't running on this and that wasn't doing this?
Well, let me ask you this, Xbot, because
saying?
kind of what you're saying is like people go to these events and they play the games. Why not, if they did digital events, they do limited demos for anybody that has that platform, right? So if somebody at this event is playing, Halo Infinite, for a 10-minute piece of Halo Infinite, why not let everybody at home that has an Xbox or a PC download that demo? That way we don't have to go there to begin with, and more people are going to be able to play it, right? Like that's I remember, what was it? Nintendo did this at Best Buy, sort of, right? They had
Xbox did it with the 360 during E3 as well.
Yeah, like let people download like 10-minute demos or whatever. Yeah, and like I know for a fact it was Nintendo at Best Buy. Like you could go in there and play the game that they showed off at E3 that year. So like there's other ways that they can go about it and save money. I know it's a thing mostly because Xbox was like really going to bring it or whatever. And I think maybe you missed the crowd thing a little bit where the oohs and ahs. But overall, as long as they can show the content, man, I'm still going to be hyped.
See, I'm more because like I'm about bringing the community together, and any place that brings all these gamers together, no matter what platform they're playing on, and them able to share their experiences, with other people who might not have that platform and stuff like that. But gamers coming together, checking out new stuff like that. I'm always going to be about that.
And they always have I think they'll always have like the PAXs and stuff like that, right? That's sort of like a thing.
Dude, I've been to PAXs. Like I know it got bigger this past year, but like it's really cool, and I got to talk to a lot of people and all that good stuff. Got to talk to a lot of devs or whatnot. But things like Gamescom and E3 with kind of opening up more to the public and stuff like that. I think those big kind of like venues are awesome, man.
I agree with Xbot there. There's one thing, and it's the main reason. And you know what? We have the great Gaming Forte who's with us tonight. And I'll be honest with you, my personal opinion, I still am a diehard GameStop fan. Like
should be.
Right? I am.
They got Reggie.
We're getting into that. We're getting into that. I pre-ordered The Last of Us. The Last of Us Collector's Edition and Ghost of Tsushima Collector's Edition. I pre-ordered at GameStop because I love going there and I love having those conversations. Go ahead, Crap.
Hey, I couldn't afford to do that at GameStop because they require stuff down, but I did from Amazon those two things because they don't take the money until it ships. And I figure, because I just got back, I figured things would be straight money-wise by the time that happens. But yeah. I miss like that kind of thing, you know what I mean? And like I hope that they stick around. I know a lot of people don't like them. I never had that negative thought of GameStop because I never really traded much in. You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of people bring like 100 games and they get like $10 or whatever and they get pissed off. But to me, I've rarely traded anything in. And so it didn't really, that never really hit me to where, because, I feel like it's almost Newfoundnomics. Where you buy a $60 game and then trade it in for $20 or whatever. Like that's not a me problem. That's a you problem if you went out and did that. Right. So, I mean, and it's just the way it is. Like everything, maybe it'll come back strong next year. Who knows? But right now, like I'm a wrestling fan. SmackDown, there's literally no audience in that crowd. It's like live. There's no audience.
Wow.
Like
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. This is like, to me, and I'm not making commentary on it because I know there's a lot of tough guys. I ain't scared of this or whatever, because it's okay. That's the natural. I think
sound like Goldblum.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's natural. Yeah, listen, it's
stay away
like
from me.
People deal with this stuff in their own way. The media breeds fear, and then you have all this kind of stuff going on. But it's like, man, at the end of the day, we got to live our lives at some point, right? And that's the way I take on it, man. Like I like movies getting pushed back. There's people literally jobs are suffering because of this. I know people don't want to talk about this, but
that right now.
But how about this, right? Like, sure, the Xbox Series X and the PS5 might launch. I firmly believe Sony's so quiet about the PS5 because they don't have people making them things to be ready to meet the requirement and the demands, right? So even though they might launch a PS5 and a Series X, maybe they have to scale it back to only a few countries or, not be able to launch the amount that they want. And that's going to hurt them. And everybody then so maybe you can understand why they're not talking about it as much, and people don't want to talk about it. And I understand that too, because like we love gaming and that's our thing. But honestly, that could be a real problem going forward, right? Like where these things are made, I believe in China, like Foxconn and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, Sony and Xbox, they do have manufacturer sites in other countries or whatnot, but the thing about it is they're not as big as what the company that they use in China. So I
know for a fact that Microsoft employees are all working from home now. Yeah. Right? I don't know if that includes their developers too, but
they are.
That's gonna so
manufacturers working at home and mailing each one to each other, putting
exactly. Here's the RDNA 2 chip for the PS5, folks. Oh, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna mail this to my buddy, and then he's gonna get. I don't know, like, and you have developers. This could delay games. Like people should brace for this, and it sucks, and and it is
let me
terrible.
Ask you this.
I'm not trying to make light of it.
Let me add something to this. So I've been thinking about this, and I've been waiting for somebody to bring it up on Twitter, and nobody's brought it up.
The problem is, Mooch, if I bring it up the way I bring it up, people think that I'm like, you know how people are.
No, I hear you, but here's my question, Crap. Yeah. Well, Crap, let me ask you. I'll ask you this. A delay of the next generation, let's say they delay next generation consoles and the Series X and the PS5 don't come out this fall because of what's going on right now in the world, right? If that happens and it doesn't come out, myself personally, that only helps Sony. And you know how? Let's say they are not right now as we speak. Let's say they are not as powerful, right? They are not going to be as powerful. Guess what? If they don't have to release until February or March, back to the drawing board. They can make the change. They know what yes, they can.
Do you know like how many months it takes to go
Xbot to make the change? To make the change would be feasible. It would be something they could do if we're talking about March or middle of next year.
I don't think that's true, Moochie. You probably want to dial that back a little bit, man.
Yeah, brother.
Well, when it could be true.
Optimus Go. Now, hold on a second. Wait a minute. Wait 1 second here.
Because it's not
in 2013, we know now that they went and they found out that Xbox was going to be doing so much of that DDR3, and they changed things last minute.
No, it's not based on time. And it's like, so that statement that you just made, change things last minute, that's too vague. What things changed last minute? If you're saying that they can go back to the drawing board and get a new, more powerful processor in 8 months, that can happen. But what they can do is they can work out and maybe get a better deal from AMD or something. And then that can probably happen. And it's going to be about the financial advantage, because there are more powerful designs already. Is just, will it fit into their risk reward ratio with the new console that they're trying to make? So it's not a given that more time they can.
No, hold on, real quick.
Hold on. Let me go back
real quick.
Go ahead,
man. You're talking about customized chips. Like they're not just like straight from AMD sent over here. They're customized. Microsoft has their own kind of like technology in there. Sony has their own technology in there. And for them to go back and try to do anything at that level,
so wait a minute. When 2012 came about, and then Sony got wind of
upclock. All they did was upclock.
They didn't. Well, hold on. They also went GDDR5 when they weren't going to do that.
This is the story, though.
Sony was changes for the PS4 last minute. So when you guys say they can't, I say here's what I'm saying. They can.
They doubled the memory. They did, because Microsoft knew that Sony had 4 gigs of GDDR5, right? And so they did the ES RAM to counter that, and they were going to have 8 gigs of that. So they thought they were going to have the more powerful console. And Sony, because the GDDR5 went down last minute, literally last minute, put another 4 gigs of RAM into the PS4.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be about finances, and increasing the amount of system memory is nowhere near the same category of designing a new chip that would get them another 2 or 3 teraflops.
Yeah, I mean they can overclock. They could do something. And there's also rumors. I mean, this isn't my thing, but that they might be rushing a PS5 Pro. That or
I
something.
Heard that too.
So I mean, like, I don't know. For me, that's all. Like, by the time both these consoles are going to do 4K 60 on most stuff anyway,
right?
And do the stuff that people want. So, like, it's fun to talk about the power and what. Like, for me, they're both going to be doing like no load times almost, which I'm excited about.
Right.
And, you're going to be able to do bigger worlds, which I'm excited about, and more people on screen, which I'm excited about. And there's going to be backwards compatibility, which is cool. They're going to be very similar, but I think it comes down to the games. And so while everybody's talking about the power. Like I would much rather talk about, hey, look, Sony might be bringing back Silent Hills.
Let me speak to that because I want to clarify because Mooch, I think you think that I'm disagreeing with you. I'm not. I do think that if they waited, it would be to Sony's advantage,
right?
But not for the same reason.
Maybe not for the same reason. Okay, that's fine. Listen, I'm speaking in generality, and I get that, Optimus, because it's not my business that I know. But I can say this much: we saw drastic changes. Whatever the drastic changes may be, that's something that maybe you could fill in the audience. But the drastic changes that were made when Sony caught wind of what Microsoft was doing, and here Microsoft kind of fell into the same loop again. If there happens to be any delay at all, I do believe that it gives a possible advantage now that Sony knows what Microsoft's cards are.
Exactly. And I think the advantage that it gives them, though, is that it gives their top tier studios more time to produce content where you won't even notice a difference between what they're releasing and the competition.
That's a good point as well.
That's their greatest advantage is time.
And I want to say shout out to BitCloud Gaming. Bit, welcome to the show. Bit, it's not like we already had 75 people on the show, but Bit, welcome to the show. Woo! Bit, what do you think about this topic, man?
BitCloud plays Candy Crush 24/7. Just want to that
out. He plays Sea of Thieves with a damn costume monster. Let's not do this.
Somebody cost my bar from you, BitCloud. Don't lie.
Somebody is bringing up Stadia, and I told him not to do that.
Leave Stadia out of it!
No! Hey, Stadia is DOA.
It's not DOA. It's still here. I got a controller right there, about 5 feet from me. Right there. There it is.
We had this discussion before.
I can see it.
Just because the added achievement system doesn't mean it survives. So.
I can see the controller from here, Bit. Go ahead.
I know, but just look, they announced the numbers. That was 500,000 downloads of Stadia, which is piss poor. I mean, imagine a console comes out and only
not a console.
I know, but imagine this is exactly. So listen. Anybody can download this thing for free, and only 500,000 did. That's not even saying that many are using it after 5 or 6 months. That's crazy low.
Yeah,
and you're
it's not great.
They're exclusive. Well, if you want me to chop at this bit,
go ahead, Bit.
So again, y'all talking about this whole obviously the 12 teraflops, right? That's where the thing is. Okay.
Thank you for bringing
terror flops.
The terror flop. So looking at the situation right now, again, for the longest, dudes have been saying it's a wrap, even though Sony did not announce, nor did they even give even a hint of how strong theirs was. It's been a lot of speculation, of course, rumors. The latest report, though, is that it's at 11.6. And ironically, one of my homies on the panel has an inside source, and that she's been right on this for quite some time. Mm-hmm. So 11.6 versus 12. I don't see anything for anybody to go, oh, we need to be running for the hills type of thing. Plus, I don't see no reason for anybody to say it's a monster, quote unquote, all this extra bullshit we heard before. A lot of people said it was 9 when the reality was PS5 is using RDNA 2. So again, it's like, I don't get it, pretty much, to make a long story short, I've said this numerous times. I've been attacked on numerous sides when it came to this, but it always comes down to what, people? The software. The software will always be the determining factor of whether or not you are going to dish out that 500, 400, 300, whatever the hell it is. It's always that first party catalog and offerings. And the thing about Microsoft, again, 15 studios, sure, I'm not taking anything away from the 15 studios. Let me repeat that again for those in the back. I'm not taking anything away from them purchasing 15 studios. But one thing you have to take into account is these 15 studios that we are, supposedly waiting on, we have not seen a damn thing yet, and we're still here waiting.
We saw
what I'm
saying?
And granted, you saw teasers, but you get what I'm going.
Well, that's more than we're seeing from Sony right now. I mean,
wait.
When it comes to next gen, hold on. When it comes to next gen,
you can't say that Xbox because you
next generation. That is a lot more than anything Sony is saying right now.
Xbox, 25
Crossfire.
When you say that, Xbox, you are disregarding 25 years of excellence. You just can't be like, you know what? I'm going to disregard the track record of Sony because they haven't said anything the last couple
about the track record and their piss poor first party when it comes to a new generation as well, and that you have to wait halfway through the life
cycle. You're the homie. You always be the homie. Let me tell you something.
Yeah, no doubt, bro.
Put the 40 down, son.
Brap will tell you. Enrique will be the first one to tell you. Ain't nobody capping for no damn grounded, bro.
It's true.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not
Hey,
even-
Mooch,
but
is
it's
there
not
any
even
way
about
that
it.
Hold on,
We-
all right,
Ain't
you're not
nobody
capping-
capping for no
you're
You're
damn
not, you're
grounded,
not
bro.
capping for grounded.
We
You're
have
not
a
capping
track
for
record.
grounded.
Just like nobody's
Concern-
capping for
You're
this new
concerned
battle.
for Halo. You're concerned for Halo Infinite, right?
Well, yeah,
what-
give
what
it
do you-
343's
are
track
you-
record
Are
compared
you
to
Look at the track
interested in
record. The
Hellblade?
track
Are you
record puts
interested in
pressure
Hellblade
on
2?
them.
Because they teased that out. That's in
Yes,
production as
yes,
well.
I'm interested in that.
Um,
We're
Yeah,
playing a
yeah,
game
so-
right
I have a
now,
question.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps, that to me is one of the if not the best modern platformer out there right now.
Mooch,
That
I
is
have
the
a
best.
question.
Hold on,
As a
go ahead,
guy-
Optimus.
But you're gonna pull grounded. But you're gonna pull grounded,
Hold on.
right?
Optimus, go ahead.
As a guest of
Nobody
the
capping
show,
for grounded.
Yes.
I would like
Or
to know if there's
Battletoads.
any way that you can possibly mute Xbox 448 because he's talking crazy trash.
Now, well, Optimus, what's your issue with Xbox? His latest statement.
Well, my issue with his statement is, I mean, EJ's put it best on Twitter. Microsoft has a lot of potential right now. It's like drafting a college player.
Yes.
There's a lot of potential, but now they have to get on the field and perform. And Xbox is behaving as if they have
He's
already
behaving like a
delivered.
Cleveland
How
Browns
is he
fan
behaving?
before last year's.
Yes, I was gonna do the
right?
Cleveland same wavelength. Cleveland Browns were declared
Sports!
the champs, man. They got Odell
Exactly.
Beckham and this guy and
Woo!
Baker
Exactly.
Mayfield. They were gonna win it all, win the North. And what happened, man? They did.
Right.
You know,
Now,
they
I
did
am
nothing.
excited for Xbox, but we gotta wait and see, man.
Yep.
Sony, on the other hand, has
Exactly.
earned the right of passage to have
Yep.
high expectations. I have high expectations for Microsoft too.
Brother, you have an opinion.
But you gotta be
they don't have
realistic,
Sony
right?
yet.
Optimus, you gotta be realistic. And the thing about it too, you can name 2 games right off the bat that's gonna guarantee you're gonna instantly buy a PS5. Horizon 2, Spider-Man 2. You know what I'm saying?
God of War
Come
2.
on.
God of War 2. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
saying this is what I'm talking
Big
about.
Cloud,
They don't
and
have
now-
that
and now
type
we
of
have
excitement going
Silent
into the next
Hill. We have
Yes, Silent
We
Hill.
didn't even get into
2
that yet.
Silent Hill
Yes,
games.
yes.
Supposedly, they pitched it to Kojima to make Silent Hills again and kind of patch things up there by getting like the rights to do that. Like that would be huge. And he said he wants to work with Redis again. I could
Crap.
yeah.
Crap, can you imagine if Sony comes out and announces Silent Hill? What's going to happen?
Dude,
Well, here's one
everybody's
thing I
gonna
wanna
be
get out the way too about that.
everybody's gonna want to buy a PlayStation.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, here's the thing too, though. I want to get this out the way for that. So, if supposedly Kojima, right, was going to be the one who makes this, if Kojima has the full creative control, odds are this might go to PC. Because remember, his whole creative control for Death Stranding, majority of the deal was for him to put it on PC because he wanted it on PC. So I'm thinking that might go to PC on some real. Like if it's like going to be funded by Sony, I think that might happen.
It could, but they might give some kind of like even Death Stranding didn't go day and date, you know.
Yeah, we'll
so
go day and date. Yeah, no game's going to go day and date. What I
Yeah.
think is probably going to happen, maybe they'll get a year thing, kind of like Neo. Maybe they'll do something like that for it.
yeah.
Just do it, 'cause remember, it makes sense to do that.
Hey,
For a
but
year.
at least in my opinion, doing that, giving you some kind of buffer there, gives you a reason as a console fan to like be happy. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I get to
Yeah.
play this first. Like, even look at it, Final Fantasy VII. I had never played that game in my life. I get the demo.
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
exactly. I'd never had, and I played the demo on my PS4 Pro. I'm blown away. I'm sold to on it. You know what I mean? Like it was amazing. It was great.
Yeah.
You know, and it was probably one of the best looking games I've ever seen as well. So the fact that they're able to do that, that's why I think all this power stuff with Sony doesn't make sense, because the PS4 Pro and the base PS4 are so underpowered to the X, but the games are looking more incredible than what Microsoft
Facts.
puts on the X.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
a lot
First
of people
party
thought,
anyway.
a lot of
First
people
party.
thought-
even the modern, even this new Modern Warfare Warzone, apparently it runs better on the PS4 Pro
Yeah,
than the
saw
Xbox
that
One X.
today.
Like, how is that? How is that even possible? You know what I mean?
That's
because
true.
weaker hardware. What did you say, Optimus? Weaker hardware holds back what? More powerful hardware?
Exactly.
Absolutely. 100%.
You never want to prioritize the weaker for the new. Never.
What does that say for all the Xbox One S's and the Xbox One Day Ones out there that Microsoft's going to keep catering to through the whole generation when they're promising all this on the Series
I mean,
X?
that makes sense because, again, remember, we're still doing what? Mooch and Crap and everybody. What are we doing? We're waiting for results, right? So, of course, they're going to cater to what? Their least common
They have to, because
denominator
that's the
right now.
largest.
They have
That's
no
the
choice.
largest install base. Let me say,
Right, they have
quick-
no choice but to cater to their lowest common denominator in terms of power, just to keep that that cycle going
Can't
until
say
they
that,
get
Big
stuff
Cloud.
for them.
Scales like PC.
Careful that PC. Real quick, I'm going to do a quick shout out for the super chat. Say hi. What's up to Wee Nee? Says, if next gen systems are very limited in supply, is it now a good thing you can still play these games on our current gen hardware? That's something that's going to come into play, and at least we could. That's a topic that came up on Twitter today. And shout out to Sovereign Cogito, says, folks be banking on Ninja Theory. Hashtag Ninja Theory is meh. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that kind of feel that way that are outside of the Xbox.
Yeah, I don't buy that. Ninja Theory is probably their best, one of the most talented studios.
I think Playground Games is their best team.
I'm like, listen, that is their best studio right now. Until we see what 343 does with this damn new Halo, which, by the way, a lot of people are putting pressure on this game without realizing it. They're putting a lot of pressure on this game. Yeah, they're putting a lot of pressure on this fucking game. Like I said before, with their track record is like you never have the perfect package. Either one game will have a good single player with crappy multiplayer, or the other one will have good multiplayer, crappy single player. You know what I'm saying? They have so much pressure on themselves to deliver that perfect package. A lot of dudes are not realizing that. As far as Ninja Theory goes, Ninja Theory is just pure talent. They had what they did with Hellblade.
They are talented.
What they did with Hellblade, and based on what we got for the new one and with a bigger team, I'm telling you, I see none but good things in their future. But really, the studio that I would say to look out for, aside from Ninja Theory, would be The Initiative. I think that's more so to look out for, since they got talent from quote unquote Naughty Dog, Sony Santa Monica, Rockstar. So they got something, and the question is, what is it? You know, like, what are you working on?
To me,
well, here's a new subject that I kind of want to bring up with you guys here, because it's already 8:30 here on the East Coast, and the question is something that me and Crap were actually talking about. Crap, what's your take on this? So with E3 being canceled, this was kind of the subsection to that last topic. Xbox has been vocal and said Xbox is going to do a digital event planned to take place in replacement of E3. But this was something that we were talking about, Crap, that we said that I think that could this hurt Xbox, because they're so I don't want to use the word, but they use E3 so much as a platform to boost so much hype and get so much going.
They're very dependent on the crowd and the fan fest and all that kind of stuff.
That's gone now.
Yeah.
So does this hurt them?
I think it hurts them more than it would hurt like Nintendo. Or listen, when Nintendo went all digital, they still managed to win E3 multiple times, right? For some reason, like one time with just showing Zelda, and that was it, right? Yeah. So it really kind of depends on kind of what they're going to plan to do.
It always comes down to the game, their spotlight, you know. Like you don't want to treat this event like not state of play. I was about to say, don't treat it like Inside Xbox.
That's what I was gonna say. If it's like an Inside Xbox, like that.
Yeah,
it's gonna be rough. But I'm telling you, like you said before, Big Cloud, the software is what does it. If they come with a true portfolio that kind of appeases everybody and not just one segment, that'll be the talking point. End of the day.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Eric. The thing is, we know the way both of these companies, this goes for Microsoft and Sony. So when Sony did in 2016, when they showed us years and years in advance of the games that were coming, we saw Spider-Man and we saw Days Gone and we saw clips of this and that. We knew for the next 2-3 years, whenever they had any kind of showing, whether it be digital or live, we were going to see the same thing over and over again. Now, Microsoft's already showed Grounded. Microsoft knows Battletoads. They've shown Everwild, right? So, yes, how much new stuff are they going to show when they still have to show us actually these snippets, and even Hellblade 2? They have to show us those in addition to what's new. So, because really all we saw was CGI or a clip.
Not only that, but I really do feel like Microsoft banks off the cult of personality that is Phil Spencer. Okay, like he got that little twinkle in his eyes. He's got the gun show, right? He's up there. He wears his little vest or his little jacket over his gamer shirt, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, Phil Spencer! What shirt is that? Is that Battletoads? Does that mean Battletoads is coming, Phil?" And they go there in person. They're gonna miss the cologne smell and whatever. It's like I feel like that's gonna be.
Oh my God.
What kind of cologne does he wear?
I don't know, because I haven't been, but I hear that he smells fabulous. So we got that going for us. And
he's probably using that Xbox body wash.
Exactly. He's got to stay on brand, right? So they're gonna miss that. Like like the people I like on Twitter in particular. There's this particular group that goes to E3 every year, and you have to feel bad for those guys because they're not going to get to go there and break bread with the guy. They're the ones that live and die Xbox. You know, like everything Xbox does is fine, and and there's never anything wrong. Like I think Xbox will be fine next generation, but it's like for me personally, as a longtime fan who spent thousands of dollars this gen on Xbox, they have to prove something to me first. Right? They don't get the benefit of the doubt. Like, listen, PS1, 2, 3, 4. Eventually, all those platforms got killer apps. Okay? I know Sony's going to bring it. Microsoft has completely shit the bed this generation and let me down. Yeah.
There's no worries on that PlayStation side when it comes to that.
Exactly. And it's like Ori 2 is good. I like it. Ori 1, I liked it. Forza Horizon 3, I loved it. My favorite franchise took a step back, in my opinion. The Gears franchise, both 4 and 5, weren't in particularly as good as the first 3.
Have you beat it yet? I love 5.
I still haven't beat it either.
I don't have to worry about it. It's in Game Pass. It's always there.
Yeah, I still haven't beat it either. But listen, that's the first Gears game. I even beat Judgment the day it came out. This is the first Gears game that I didn't go through and beat.
The thing is, and crap, not to make light of it. I mean, we talked about it on the show a while ago when Gears came out, and everybody was like, "Oh, Mooch, you're just full of it. You and crap don't know what you're talking about." But the thing is, even Rod Ferguson, he's got like a tattoo of a huge gear on his back. He's out.
Oh, he's gone. He's
gone.
Like Gears who?
The game didn't do well. I don't think. I mean, yes, it did well, of course, in the Xbox camp, but it didn't do well overall. And a lot of it is because they took the story, they took the franchise, they made a left turn, and nobody knew why. It was such a drastic turn. Like even you have Uncharted, right?
I loved hearing Kate's story. The story.
That's fine. She could have been a subsection to the story. It didn't have to be the main story.
No spoilers for Optimus. He's still playing Candy Crush.
Not for anything. Me personally, and again,
go ahead, Xbox.
Gears 5 story is probably one of the best in the franchise for me.
I agree. I love 5.
Really?
I disagree with that.
Yeah.
I completely. I didn't know. I'm on Act 5. I'm on the very last act of it, but I got to be honest with you. Not even close. Not even close.
I think 2. I think 2's the best.
I mean, Act 5 would have to blow me off the chair.
Yeah,
I think
like
we got Major L son in the chat there. There he is, man. I saw Aaron Cheeseburger earlier too. So shout out to those guys.
Oh yeah. So but Mr. Badbit, I want to go to you on this. What's your take as we kind of go into the E3 era now that we don't have actual E3, but we're going to get digital shows from all the respected companies? Do you think Microsoft's at a bit of a disadvantage while having that huge stage presence?
No. So, all right. So let's break this down, right? Future of E3, what is it? Right now, non-existent. Will they be there next year? Yes, but in what capacity?
Right.
That's the thing that I don't think anybody has an answer to until we see everybody's makeshift production, because usually these things like a Nintendo Direct is planned about 8 to 9 months before the Direct actually comes out. So these companies have less than 2.5 months to get some type of production in line to have their game shown off. So with that said, we're going to see some less traditional, less polished shows, but I think we're all kind of prepared for that. Xbox isn't at a disadvantage as long as they have one thing right. I'm a big PR guy. That's my field. And it's all about a clear, controlled message. And as long as they're able to give out a clear, controlled message as to what the Xbox Series X is, why you need it, whatever the hell Lockhart is, if they even announce Lockhart, and give us a reason as to why we need that in the 2-year span, right? Sell us on the platform, sell us on the console, sell us on what the future of Ninja Theory is, which to me is one of their biggest gets. Sell me on the future of Obsidian. Show me in Outer Worlds 2.
Don't show me that. Show me something new.
Sure.
Go out and get the rights to make a exclusive Marvel RPG or something.
The sky's the limit.
Or Star Wars RPG.
Well, when you look at things, but it's funny, Mr. Babbitt. I got to agree with crap what he said there, and he just jumped in there. But I got to be honest with you, you have Neo 2 that came out right today, right? Mm-hmm. And that game is something that Sony went out, they grabbed it, they got it as an exclusive. Is it exclusive forever? Probably not.
No, it's not.
Probably not. Who cares?
It's not.
It does, but it does the damage it's supposed to, Dark. And then, right, you have Final Fantasy VII. They go
I'm
do
just
that.
saying it's not. You're saying, oh, it might not.
Well, Neo
not.
1's not on Xbox yet, so I'm still waiting.
It's going to PC. It's going to PC.
Well,
what are you
PC.
talking
I'm talking about console exclusive.
Oh, okay.
But
you should.
But I mean, Bloodborne is another one from Software. They went out and did. What Crap's saying is this is what Xbox needs to do. This is what they used to do. Things that they did with Remedy. Things that they used to do with like BioShock, the original BioShock.
How is it that even this last year might be this year with what Sony's doing might be the biggest and best year for exclusives or console exclusives ever.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, and they're closing out the PS4 that way. And even stuff like the Avengers gets like an exclusive beta on PlayStation. Right. Final Fantasy VII, that's a year exclusive. Like that, they're doing stuff to make you feel wanted as a console gamer. And then
that's what. And don't get me wrong. Let me finish here. That's what Xbox needs to do. They need to show new IP. They need to show that they're making those deals. And I think we're getting hints of that when you see, things like on Game Pass, like almost every freaking Final Fantasy we see is going to be landing on Game Pass. We got Kingdom Hearts, they're getting Yakuza as well. So they are trying to make deals elsewhere. We're kind of seeing that. That's what we need to see at their show floor. Again, I'm a PlayStation guy. And when we're saying we're letting the PlayStation 4 out with a bang, we got Neo this month, we got Final Fantasy the next, we got Last of Us the show, we got
Ghost of Tsushima.
We have a huge banger of games in the next few months.
Even Iron Man VR, I'm looking forward to that, man.
Oh my God, same here. My co-host played it. He loves it.
Chime in here because this is where they screwed it too for Xbox. Y'all remember for Black Panther the movie, they came out with a custom console for the movie.
One that you can win.
Yeah, which was weird. I don't know why they didn't just approach Marvel like Sony did with the whole Spider-Man thing.
Blu-ray's exclusive.
I don't know why
Blu-ray's exclusive
and get them Black Panther game going or something.
Well, check this out. Check this real quick, Bad Bit. I've been dying to respond to you on this one, man, because I hear where you're coming from. And my name Xbot, people are going to think, oh, he's going to say there's no problem here. Now, the thing is that Xbox is trying to grab as much mind share as they can leading up to the next series of hardware coming out. That's why they showed the system at the Video Game Awards, stuff like that. They're trying to grab hold and trying to get people to think about like Xbox again. This is where I think it's not necessarily great for them not to have an E3, because if they can go in and have an incredible show at E3, it rises up above the other shows, the other things that are seen at E3, and they're shown as kind of like that number one out of that conference. You know what I'm saying? Out of that week-long event and all that good stuff, which would also help with mindshare. Now, with them not having an E3, it brings it back into the community more or less. You know what I'm saying? I know gaming journalists are going to report on it and stuff like that, but there's nothing like saying, oh my goodness, did you see that show at E3? Because everybody else is there in some form or fashion. It just makes it sound that much better when you when you hit a home run at that venue. You see what I'm saying?
I totally understand.
But Xbox, you hit those home runs when you show content, you drop trailers, they make people say, wow.
That's exactly what.
Can I speak to that real quick?
Yeah,
go ahead,
within the atmosphere of everything being there at once. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing like getting that name and that notoriety through a venue, an event that's going on like that, and being shown as kind of like the crowning jewel of what was shown at such an event. Like, you see what I'm saying? They're trying to grab.
I think that's a good point, Xbot. I really do. But I think the part, and maybe you're not missing it. To me, it seems like you're missing, and I think everyone on the panel is trying to reinforce it, is that they have to show, if they're going to do that thing that you said, then the games, the content that they show has to be stuff that's overwhelming. Yes. Yeah. And in the industry, right? So like the video game industry, any tech-based industry is going to be a copycat industry. If somebody else gets 50 teraflops, then you're going to get 50 teraflops. If somebody else has 3D audio, you're going to get 3D audio. They all innovate and then copy off of each other. Mm-hmm. And for me, the issue is people always criticize the Sony games and all of that stuff, but people go crazy over that formula. Those games sell like crazy. It seems to me at this point, Microsoft would have learned this is a pattern that we need to mimic, improve upon. We need to one up and we need to do something.
Not with every one of your studios, though. Not with every one of your studios, though. I don't want.
I didn't say that.
Well, you're still gonna have your Halo and Forza and Gears and stuff. So why not?
The thing that I don't want to see from
they just
Xbox
need to revamp that whole fucking shit. Like inside Xbox needs to fucking not exist anymore.
I really think what Xbox needs to not do is make dev teams like when they're like, oh, 343 is the Halo factory and Coalition's the Gears factory. That's such a huge mistake.
Hey, well, this is what I said, and a lot of people take my Gears criticism wrong because they just want to love it so much. It was like everybody told me that Gears 5 is the true indication of the direction that Microsoft's going. They're going to pour all the money into it. They get extra time. It's going to score way better. It's going to be everything we've always wanted to be. And then you can't even progress past like the second level. At least I couldn't. And there were so many issues. I predicted that Rod Ferguson would leave within the next year and that they would possibly start working on a new IP. And what happened? Rod Ferguson left. Quite possibly he could have left because they shelved Gears for a little bit, right? They could still come out with Gears at the end of the gen. They got it down. They can make one in 2.5 years, right? So why not have them do a new IP? And maybe that's why Rod left, okay? So that guy bleeds Gears of War. So to me, the fact that he left the Gears of War studio as the head tells me that something was a little bit off there. I know everybody's talking about developers and that one developer speaking out about crunch. Well, why the hell did Rod leave on time and go to the same place as Mikey Barra?
Yeah, no one's talking about that.
Like nobody was talking about that. It's like goose and gander. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, I think Gears 5 is fine, but it's like not what Gears was. And I could go over all the stuff that they changed about it. Like the characters aren't good to me. They're like
they didn't push the envelope anywhere, crap. Yeah, Nothing's changed from Gears 4. It looks the same. It just feels the same.
Yeah, they tacked on the little thing on the skiff. I know everybody's like, oh, they added RPG elements. The only RPG elements was the robot. You know, they took out the kills or the downs or whatever it is. Like they add force crossplay. Well,
you know what's funny? So Gaming Forte and Enrique are here, and I was playing with them. That's how I played Gears 5 through with. And like we were going through the skiff parts, and it was I'm going to use the word boring. Like it was
boring.
It's weird when you get to the sand level.
Enrique was falling.
No, I was going to say,
right, Forte, go ahead.
Hey, what'd you say, Forte?
When lightning is striking,
Enrique was falling asleep.
Like,
he was.
Like that was not.
He was like, I was like, Enrique.
Next spot, I'm going to give you the mic, but look, Forte's right. We were playing, and like at one point, Enrique was like, what? Where are you guys? And I'm like, we're over here. And he's like, can we end this soon? I got to go to bed. I'm exhausted.
I also want to point out that backs up what I'm saying. Okay, Microsoft. Who, even though they don't talk numbers per se, they were quick to tell us that 3 million people bought Halo Master Chief Collection on Steam. Or, they're quick to talk about successes. They mentioned 3 million players played Gears 5 that launch
weekend.
We haven't heard a single freaking peep, and that game fell off the face of the earth. It went down to number 25 most played games within the first
And that's
month.
a pillar of their portfolio.
Exactly. That's like their second biggest franchise. It's $1 billion franchise, and it fell off so hard and so fast, and they haven't talked anything about it. That's a problem.
Why do you think that is, though? Again, Game Pass was like the main thing that was advertised. It wasn't even Gears 5 at that time.
Yeah.
To me personally, Bit,
and this for what? $1?
Bit, to me personally, that's a top level. It's a top level answer I'm going to give you, but it's a leadership issue, man. And it's the thing when it comes down to it. It's great that we have Optimus and Mr. Badbit here too. It goes back and kind of ties into our original subject. Like, I'm a firm believer that sometimes crunch is necessary. And I think a lot of times you have a lot of people leaving Naughty Dog and they're leaving Sony Santa Monica because they're like, we were on a team that was working our asses off and we got all these accolades and awards and best games and sold 10, 15 million copies. I'm going to go over to Redmond where they're going to pay me the same or more. And I actually get to work from home, and I get 3-day weekends.
Dude, they're working from home because of an issue.
Well, whatever, dude. I'm just saying. Listen, I'm just trying to say they
bring it back as
there's
that's
no
the way
crunch.
Microsoft does it.
There's no crunch. One of their biggest games in Gears 5 was kind of a, I believe, I mean, it's kind of a
work,
flop.
though, bro.
Come
on, man.
Yeah, but it does work, Xbot. It really does because the proof's in the pudding.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Hey, this is the truth though. Like their games seem to take even longer to develop and are in a worse state when they do come out. So you have to sort of wonder about that, right? Like aside from Playground Games, who I've always been a supporter of, and even then, it's like I loved Forza Horizon 3, and even though it got 1 point less score than 4,
Playground has had issues and glitches and stuff like that as well. I pointed them out before. I used to hit,
but I just want to say that like 3 might have been my favorite game. It might be like I consider that the best racing game of all time. It had like the heart to it, and the actual festival was the major part to that. When 4 came out, I was really excited, the seasons and all that kind of stuff. But then there was the heart, which was the festival, was like in the background, and it's like games as a service. They games as a service that game, right? Like they made dailies and weeklies, like and I didn't like
those
that.
are actually and I understand, like you said, it's your opinion. You didn't like that. I do.
I'm not saying it's a bad game, but it's my least played Horizon game.
Well, Forza Horizon 1 was my favorite one. The story,
mine too.
The story within that was great. Like they need to go back to that. In my
you worked your way up to number 1, and I remember, it was great.
Hold on a second. What's the point that we're making?
And that's the thing. And if I could just try to get back to the original point at hand here, is that
please do.
Yeah, I know we got like off track. We like
CrossFire.
Is that what Xbox needs to do?
Did y'all see Playground Games' new project that was leaked on Twitter? It looks like The Last of Us.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I mean, it's concept art. Everything could change.
It looks like a cross between I Am Legend and The Last of Us, to be honest with you.
The Last of Us look like I Am Legend. Like, I mean, so.
But again,
interesting though to see it.
Yeah, just to take the original note here is Xbox needs to show us a reason why we need to get on their platform. And so as long as they do that, they have a clear message, they're going to be fine at E3 or whatever they decide to do. The real question is at hand is whatever is going to happen with the situation that we're in right now, where is that going to be in 8 months from now? Like, how is it going to affect not just PlayStation, but Xbox as well in terms of manufacturing? Because Xbox doesn't own any manufacturing sites. Same with PlayStation. They partner up with manufacturing companies to go ahead and make those components. So like it's China, Indochina, and Indonesia right now. Those are where all the manufacturing companies are, and they are all being riddled with what is going on right now because YouTube won't let us have freedom of speech for one goddamn second. So like that's the
real that away years ago, bro.
I know, right? It's real talk. But like that's the real situation at hand is how are they going to get these consoles into people's hands? And I think that's where Microsoft may have actually some strength here. Again, I'm the PlayStation guy. I get it. I'm a Sony pony. But the thing is, Xbox's strength is right now they are trying to sell a platform to you first rather than trying to sell the console. So if they could try to get Game Pass in as many people's, I guess, hands as possible, then that could work out.
That's another thing, Mr. Badbit. We haven't heard, that's one thing. It doesn't matter if it's Xbox or Sony. They both, the minute anything's doing well, they love screaming it from the top of a mountain. Yeah. They love it, right?
Yeah.
We haven't heard Game Pass numbers in forever. And, they're constantly, again, there's another dollar incentive out there. I understand Xbox and I have gone back and forth on this. You can't be a new subscriber. What is that? But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. All you have to do right now is become a silver member and put your name, whatevergaming.com, and you get a month free, and you get to play Ori for $1.
You don't see me, man. I got my face in my face in my hand, and I'm just shaking my head at you.
Well, you can shake all day. That's what people do.
Not only that, but you could make a new ID.
That's what I'm saying.
And then just delete it when you're done, and then play that game for that $1 or whatever.
Yeah, you play for $1
or whatever. Yeah, like there's
college kids and young folks are gonna do that because they're like, dude, why am I gonna go spend like $14 a month? I'm not spending $14 a month when I'm between the ages of 18 and 25. I got other bills, man. I'll do it for $1, and I'll be whatever.com gaming. You know what I mean? And I'll just play Ori, or I'll play Halo, or I'll play the Gears or whatever game I want for $1. And
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, Microsoft is seemingly, in air quotes, okay with that because that's a new Game Pass member we can report.
Yeah.
So everyone's
Well, it's also
happy.
an opportunity for that person.
It's
to
true,
forget
Xbot.
about it. Well, but like that, like the whole thing, like the whole scheme there is like get them to sign up for $1 and then let them forget to delete that subscription, and then it'll just auto renew.
Yeah, the
And
gym
that's
membership
like-
deal, right?
Hey,
Absolutely.
I always
And it
on
works.
Twitter. Hey, because I follow
It works.
I follow the Xbox Reddit on Twitter, and I'm always seeing the new threads, and all the time people are like, they charged me for another month of Game Pass when I know I canceled it, right? So I mean, clearly, yeah, that probably is working. Again, I signed up for $1 where it topped off your existing gold, which I had already up to 2022. So I spent $1. And I just now started using Game Pass. I've had Game Pass for well over a year since it implemented. Because
same
people,
here.
Mooch will tell you,
Yeah.
people were giving me and him years upon years of Game Pass. We were giving it away, and people didn't want it.
Yeah, don't be Monday morning
Dude,
quarterback here,
if
guys.
You're trying
Listen,
to give it, if you're trying to give it to your fan base and the people that tune into your shows, and you're constantly bashing
no, this
it,
is before.
none
No,
of
no,
the
no.
chat-
Hold on.
None
Hold on.
of the chat is gonna
Hold on.
want it.
No. First
No,
of all, you
that
have to
was
listen.
before
Put,
they
you have
were
listen,
Yeah.
you have to put everything into context. What Crap's talking about, the era of time he's talking about, was prior to when Microsoft said their first party games were going to be in there. This is prior to that. Game Pass, nobody wanted it.
I was there telling you guys about Game Pass, saying
Nobody
how it was gonna
wanted it.
grow,
Now
and you
that they-
guys were
listen,
arguing
Xbox-
with me
Xbox-
like constantly, bro.
That's fine,
Like,
but Xbox, nowhere in the history of time did you say, Mooch, just wait till they put their first party in there for free. You never said that. Okay? So my point being is this. Exactly. My point is that when we were getting those donated to us left and right on MNC because they were basically saying, we don't want this. This was before Xbox put their first party games in there. Now that they have that in there, all the hardcore people are like, well, of course it's great now. Now it's great. Well, of course it's great. If you're hardcore, you were going to buy their 1, 2, 3, 4 games a year, right? So now for that free or $1 or even for $10 a month, it's cheaper than buying 4 of their exclusive games first party. I get it. I can do the math. It's simple. What I'm trying to say to you, though, is prior to them throwing their first party games in there, it wasn't the no-brainer people are talking about today.
Yeah.
Let me ask everybody on the panel.
Slow-mo asked for your Game Pass months.
If Xbox was not going to give you their first party games in Game Pass, now would you subscribe for $10 a month? That's a
would.
different question.
Sure
It's still,
would.
but you would, but that's a different question now.
Like to be honest with you, like the fact I got to be honest, and I think that Sony's made strides with PS Now because you can download that and they're putting better games in there, and it's only $10 a month. I still wouldn't even pay that much for that. Okay, like once my stuff runs out, unless I can get another good deal like that, I'll let it lapse because I don't want to pay $10 a month or $15 a month.
I'm not
for
paying
that
$10
because-
a month. We're all
Yeah, I
playing
mean,
the games we want to play when they come out. You know, like
Yeah.
third-party games. I'm not waiting 6 months, 12 months. If you're a
Now-
hardcore gamer, you're going to wait 18 months to play your favorite game in Game Pass,
between me
and maybe
and
it'll never show up?
Between
Now
me
is the
and my
first. This
wife,
is the first time that I've
between-
downloaded anything off of Game Pass right now. I downloaded Kingdom
Ori.
Hearts 3, which I haven't played. I downloaded Ori, and I downloaded Yakuza 0. Right, those are the 3 first games that I've downloaded off of Game Pass. And I'm having it for over a year and a half or whatever. For me, if there's a game that I'm super interested in, I'm not going to play the waiting game and go, well, I hope that it comes in there one day. You know what I mean? With the Halo or whatever, I always felt like I bought those games, and I probably still will, unless I'm hoping that Microsoft shows off some new stuff to make me want to get an Xbox Series X. If not, then I'll probably use Game Pass just to play Halo on my One X. And I just hope that they can come out and like prove to people like me that they're in it and they can make these AAA, not only just AAA new IP, but quality games, right? Like that's a big thing. I heard David Jaffe one time mention, I think this was even after Gears came out, that's the big difference because there was a lot of glitches in that. He goes, you would never see something like that in a Sony made game, right? God of War, there was nothing like that. Like that was probably the best game I've ever played, right? And
Dude,
there was
I watched
no
videos of God of War glitches like all over the place.
But
dude.
I'm just saying there was nothing where the developer all had to come out. There was with Days Gone, but with God of War there was none of that. With
Days
Uncharted
Gone
there
was-
was there was, but it was still a great game, right? A new IP. I would take a new AAA IP like Days Gone, even with its lower score, than a Ori or a Grounded or a Flight Sim or a Bleeding Edge any day. Any
you
day.
made 3
So
super chats, bro.
Well, for me,
yeah,
like
I got a couple super chats here. And Mr. Babbitt, I'm
sorry.
going to give you the mic right after this. Elemental Appeal says, I'm happily paying for Ultimate, best deal ever. And don't get me wrong, I completely understand. Elemental Appeal says, Yakuza 0, Final Fantasy, and Kingdom Hearts is enough right now. And then I've got Sovereign Kagito. He says, neutral gamers who were at getting Final Fantasy 7, The Last of Us 2, and I believe he's saying, I don't know what GOT, I don't know what he's talking about.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima. But I mean, I'll go ahead, Mr. Babbitt. I'll give you the mic back.
I think again, that question of like, if Xbox first parties weren't there, would I still be on board with it? It depends on what that service looks like. If the service then looks like something like the Apple, whatever Apple has, I forget.
Arcade.
Apple Arcade.
Where they have.
Absolutely, I know. Steve Jobs, we miss you. Go ahead.
Or you mean like Stadia?
Well, no. If they offered something where it's just like, hey, here's a shitload of indies, have at it. I would love that. That would be super dope. Like, I have Game Pass. I downloaded Ori. I downloaded Doom. I downloaded Ghost in a Well, which is a fantastic little indie game. And then I downloaded Dead Cells. And I've just been playing a crap ton of games that I wouldn't normally play, but now that they're on Game Pass, I go ahead and I try it out. Same with right now PlayStation Now that I've been trying out as well. So like the services are there.
But here's my thing, Mr. Babbitt, and I'm glad you're here because Babbitt, you're not a regular on the show, and this is what's great. I've been asking this week in and week out to a lot of my panel members, is that you're a hardcore gamer, so you play those games. But the common folks, the casual gamers, the people that play Call of Duty, Madden, NBA 2K, right? The casual gamers, the Fortnite players, they don't care. They don't even know what Dead Cells is. Go ahead.
And that's unfortunate.
I just gotta tell everybody that I gotta bounce.
Oh, you gotta leave, Crap?
Yeah, I gotta leave, man. It's 9.
That's right. 9 o'clock. Crap turns into a gaming pumpkin. Apparently,
but it was great to be back, man.
Good to have you back.
Thanks
Crap.
to everybody, man. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, man.
All right, peace, Crap. Good to have you. See you next week.
Later, Crap.
But Mr. Babbitt, do you see where I'm going with
this? Get a
this?
word in.
Goldblum's like, now I'm the star of the show.
Fuck you, Goldblum. Fuck you.
There it is. Last minute. Outstanding. He never lets us down, that Crap gamer.
Love
it's fantastic.
you too, Crap.
So real quick, Mr. Babbitt, do you see my point? My point is for Netflix, Disney Plus, okay, there's people that are Disneyites, which are what I call people that they go to Disney every 3 months. They save up, they go as a family.
Is crazy.
Well, they do. That's okay. That's how they want to spend their money. It's fine. But me, I go every 8 years. My point is this. They go, right? So they're Disneyites. They go all the time. But in order for Disney Plus to make money, they need more than the Disneyites. They need the people that like this and like that, and they're going to subscribe. The casuals, the people who like Marvel every once in a while. Someone who wants to watch a Pixar movie every once and again, right? Somebody who just wants to watch maybe the old Cinderella from back in the day. My point being is this. When you just name the games you just named, casual gamers don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And they don't care. And my point is that if the casual doesn't hop on Game Pass, it's not going to make it for the long run. And I know everyone listening right now in the chat and everyone in the panel, blasphemy! Listen, guys, I'm going to say this real quick and then I'm going to give the mic back to Beth. Ready? Game Pass is great! Yeah. It's great! I get it, right? I'm a hardcore. I love it. It's saving me money. I didn't buy Ori. I got it for 99 cents. Thank you. But my point being is, other people that are my friends, I say to them all the time, they're casual guys. They play NBA 2K and they play Call of Duty. I'm like, did you guys get Game Pass yet? I just had this conversation the other day. The answer was no. Great service. I looked into it. Looks great. No, we're not doing that.
Isn't NBA 2K in Game Pass right now?
Because they want the new one. The new one's not. They're not going to get. They already own the old one. They already own that one.
Yes, it is.
It's 2K.
They bought it. But they bought it. Yeah, but they bought it when it came out, dude. Because that's with the casuals buy Call of Duty on release, and they buy NBA 2K on release. They're not going to wait till the season's over.
Mooch. Here's the thing. There's more than one casual. So for the group that you're talking about that has their own disposable income, 20s, they got their own job.
Right.
That's certainly one group of casual.
Absolutely.
But then the kind that I see and that I deal with a lot, that I get just like inquiries from, is the parent who's buying this for.
I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that at all, because the casual gamer that's going to have a parent is going to buy a $60. No,
you don't even know what
Optimus.
I'm saying.
I do know what you're saying, Optimus. I've been doing this for a long time, Optimus. Listen, I got news for you. What you're saying is the casual parent, it doesn't mind paying $10 a month. What I'm telling you is the casual parent's buying that kid one game a year.
I don't know
So
about that.
so
I don't
$10.
know.
Listen, I'm gonna be
I
real.
don't know how that.
I can give you some stats
from
behind
my experience. Those casual parents
Yep.
love Game Pass.
What are the
because
casual
they
kids
don't
playing,
have to do
Optimus? Are they
anything
playing
else.
Dead
They just
Cells?
buy the console.
Are they playing Untitled
That's it.
Goose Game?
Honestly,
Yeah,
No,
actually,
they're
are.
playing the
Honestly,
games
they
that
have
are
the
not in the casuals are playing Madden, NBA 2K, Call
Again,
of Duty,
there's more than one
Fortnite,
casual.
It's being
Apex,
streamed by
and those
streamers.
games are not
Hold
in
on.
Game Pass.
Mooch, there's more than one casual, and for some reason, you're only willing to look at the casual that you're familiar with.
You're telling me the casuals play Dead Cells or Untitled Goose Game?
I'm telling
I'm
you,
Definitely
telling
Untitled
you-
Goose
people
Game.
out there-
Yeah,
I'm
definitely
telling
Untitled.
you
they
that
are.
there are parents and children who the main game that the children play
Okay.
is Fortnite,
Yep.
but there is a bonus to the parent because when the child gets bored of Fortnite, that there are other games that they can play, and the parent doesn't have to do anything.
The parent is not going to go and spend $120 just because they are scared their kids
I had
getting bored of
somebody do it.
Fortnite.
False.
You had
Had
one.
somebody do
Okay,
it.
so
That's
Gaming
false.
Forte has one. We have one tally.
Oh, one. I got more than one.
My point being is
How
that
many you got,
I'm
Mooch?
not.
Like,
I'm not
getting
buying
this
that
data.
story.
No, listen. Let me tell you something, man. Literally today, I don't remember the last time I sold an Xbox without Game Pass with it. Is this the thing? Microsoft.
It's in the box.
But no, people don't even know it's in the
Yeah,
box.
that's
Like,
a good point.
listen, literally today, and probably over the last month and a half, I have added on at least a 3-month membership of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a 12-month subscription, educating these people on why they should get this service. And the thing is, it's hard for you to explain it when Xbox is like trying to market it to you like through TV and promotions and stuff like that. When you go, like, I'm telling you, when the new system launches, this is going to be the biggest boom they're going to have the Game Pass, because you're going to have more people
Biggest boom they're
upgrading
going to
their
attempt to do.
systems.
Yes.
You're going to have more people upgrading systems, and you're going to get that. I mean, now, depending on where you buy your system from, if you go somewhere that's actually going to help you, you're going to probably get better knowledge on what you're actually purchasing and stuff.
Forte,
But
you're right.
But every system I sold for Xbox over the last probably 2 months have at least walked out with 3 months to 6 months of Game Pass. And it's only because, dude, I'm like, you will be
Xbox
crazy.
is
not
also
to
in
get
last
this.
place in sales. So my point being,
Yeah, but
It doesn't matter.
it does matter. It does matter. You're talking about
They
small
don't
numbers.
want it.
And let me tell you something, Gaming Forte.
But why would you
my
buy
point being is,
something you don't
why
want
is it?
then?
But why is it I'm hearing this from you and I'm not hearing the numbers from Xbox? Because
But
they're
Mooch,
not
where are you
doing
getting
what
your
they
data
want to
from?
do.
You're
They're not
just-
doing what they want to do.
Mooch, you're just asserting your position. You're not offering any facts. You're just trying to bully it in because you strongly
No,
believe.
that's
that
wrong,
data
Optimus.
that
No, no,
have.
you can't use word like bullied and this, that. What I'm trying to say to you is this. These companies scream from a mountain when they are doing well, and we have heard crickets. So let me use the word back
That is
on you.
false.
You
You'll
are
hear something when
bullying.
people-
You
you'll
are
hear something
bullying
about
the fact that
Uri
this is
Riley
what they
releasing
do,
So
this is what they
when
do,
Microsoft
and
gave
now
the
they're not
report-
doing it. So why are they not doing it, Optimus?
Mooch, when Microsoft gave their last report about Xbox sales was down,
Yep.
the thing that they commented
So was
on
services and so was a Game Pass.
subscriptions were up.
Yeah,
Well,
and
their services was
also-
down.
Services also account for digital games.
Well,
But they
services
said
was down.
Game Pass specifically
They
was
said
up.
Game Pass specifically was up, though. Services were down because
And
of
the
game sales.
Exactly, and that's the point I want to make here is that
Wait,
Xbox
no. I'm
X-
because I have been accused.
Oh,
so
sorry.
Mooch said I'm not coming with data.
I
do
didn't say
have
that.
Data. Companies are well. You said that the companies aren't reporting data, and therefore you're inferring because the data is bad, and so I'm trying to bully it through. I'm saying that they did have the data. They did say that Game Pass sales was up. I see hundreds of parents.
So
that-
wait a minute, Optimus, but can I counter that? If it's
Sure.
+1, it's up. They didn't give a number. They didn't give a delta.
Well, that's true. but you're saying-
Okay.
but you're
So what I'm saying to you
that
is this:
nobody is
you cannot
buying
sit
Game
here.
Pass.
You also don't have the facts. You
But
also
when's the
don't
last
have the
time Microsoft
data.
actually
So
gave
when you
word?
say that the
Whoa,
numbers are up,
whoa,
I'll say
sales,
+1.
Hey, I didn't say numbers are up. I said
You said they
Listen.
said numbers were up.
hold on. You said that they're not reporting the numbers.
I'm
In
saying they're not
response to
reporting
that-
the numbers
Hold on.
because they are not doing what they expected.
Exactly. And I said in response to that they did report. That
They
the sales
reported
were up.
more. More could be plus One, what I'm telling you is when they have magnificent numbers, they are not bashful to report it. They have not reported the actual numbers because the numbers are not magnificent, and that is my point. What's so hard to understand about that?
They said a percentage. They said that Game Pass sales were up by some percentage. It's easily Googleable. So it's not like they said.
Let me tell you what it wasn't 50%. It wasn't 25%. It wasn't anything magnificent. So my point being is,
what's magnificent. So what's magnificent?
Well, let me ask you. Okay, so let me turn it back to you, Optimus, because you like to use these magic words.
What would be magnificent?
I would say 20% or more after 2 years in existence.
Go brush your teeth.
All right. Well, we'll see. I will.
What I'm saying to you though, what do you think is magnificent?
What I think is magnificent, I don't know. They would have sales.
Is growth 10
year over end? They would want to meet those goals. So I don't know what it would be.
No, this is the thing, and it's funny because you have an average
plus. You're going.
I'm not. This is the point. I'm not being a fanboy. I'm actually asking direct questions. And what I'm saying is, we're using smoke and mirrors that Microsoft is using. We've done better. Okay, how much better? Oh, we're not going to tell you that. Okay.
No, hold on. They did mention the percentage again. I'll tweet it to you when I find it.
But the percentage is not magnificent. It's
my original point before I was so rudely interrupted was.
Come on, Optimus. It's Crossfire. This isn't Kumbaya. That's a different show.
What I was trying to say, you were using evidence from your life about the casuals that you know.
Yes.
I was trying to point out that there's more than one casual. I mean, and just so we clear, because of the nature of my work and how successful I have been without resorting to like certain street enterprises, there are always these parents who's bringing these kids by to talk to me, and they want me to come speak at the boys club and like all of this stuff. So they always want me around as an example of how things can be done. Mm-hmm. And in my interaction with, and I'm not exaggerating here, hundreds of parents, I see parents who cater to Game Pass. Mm-hmm. I'm not making it up. It is a good value to them because they don't have to do anything. Okay. Once they make that initial purchase,
Optimus,
they never have to go to the store
Optimus,
again.
It is
no, I'm not done. So just like you have your friends who only play 2K,
I'm going to use your example.
Care about Game Pass. There are other casuals that are different.
But I want to, and Enrique, I want you to, Enrique, I want you to, I'm going to give you the mic in a second. But Optimus, when you have these conversations with these folks, okay, and they're telling you this, okay, first of all, they're not making the purchase right in front of you. I'm telling you also that my same sample crowd that I spoke to, much like yours, okay, very small, even though we're talking hundreds is not millions, okay? So we're both in that same small sample crowd, have said to me, Mooch, Game Pass is a magnificent value. But they haven't gone home. They haven't gone home and pulled the trigger. And you don't know if they pulled the trigger. Because when you come home and you have to actually sign the contract digitally, of course, for the $120, a lot of folks won't pull the trigger. My point is.
No, what do you think my point is?
You're saying the same thing I'm saying, but we both have the exact same end result. We don't know how they're doing.
It's not mutually exclusive to what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm saying that you, Mooch, have to acknowledge that there's more than one type of casual, and you're trying to be dismissive.
And you have to admit that people are telling you that it's a good value, and then are also not going home and pulling the trigger. Will you accept that?
I will accept that.
Okay, that's all I'm trying to say, too. So what I'm saying is I've taken your sample size, and I've also dismissed it, and you've dismissed mine.
But in addition to the ones that go home and I don't know that they're purchasing it, there's also the ones that call me and help me walk them through purchasing it. Now, it hasn't been hundreds, that is for sure, but
that's all I'm trying to say, Optimus, is that the sample number, whether we're talking about mine, yours, or ours combined, is minute. It's too small to even discuss. So what I'm saying to you is that this number,
dismissive of the other group of casuals,
but the group of casuals that you're talking that I'm being dismissive of would have to be so large and so magnificent that Microsoft would be willing to discuss the numbers, and they're not.
They did,
and that's my point. No, they aren't. They're saying we did better, and they gave a small percentage, and that percentage is vast upon all sorts of digital services. It's not just Game Pass. And that's my thing.
No, they specifically mentioned Game Pass.
Well, if they specifically said Game Pass, that's fine. But all I'm saying is, why wouldn't they mention numbers?
Say that Game Pass doubled.
But doubled from what? And from when? We don't know any numbers. Doesn't mean anything.
Because you said 20% would be magnificent, and he just said
20% would be magnificent. I think that would be a big step up.
Yeah, we both you guys are making
Crossfire.
Yeah, but this is the crescendo Crossfire, by the way. No, I'll say that I think I understand where both you guys are coming from. To Optimus's point,
I've actually I don't mean to cut you off. Enrique, I got to drop, guys.
Oh, sorry, E, we went a little late. We're going a little late tonight. I apologize. E, thank you for being here, buddy. And I'll give you a plug at the end. I'll make sure I plug your Twitter, etc. I will. Take care of you, Eric.
No doubt, man. Thanks for having me on.
Always, man. Always.
Yeah, I understand your point about we don't know the number. We don't know. I mean, like if 50% can mean a lot of different things, or 25%.
Right, exactly. So 50% are doubled, Enrique. Where are we starting from? Where is that starting from? Where did it leave off? We don't know.
We don't know. But I will say this.
Right? You don't know.
I will say this. We don't know. So I will say to Optimus's point, though, I have actually found additional value in terms of Game Pass Ultimate. Now I don't game on the Xbox console because I don't like muddy textures. So I primarily game on PC.
Jesus Christ!
But I will say this:
gaming as on a PC parent, like a scumbag.
Yeah, as a parent though, I just picked up PlayStation Now for $60 a year, and that is for my kids. PlayStation Now and Xbox Game Pass are awesome for me because I'm like, you know what, guys, you pick a game, can't be violent. Download it, have fun, and the kids are running with it. So I think to Optimus's point, I think there's probably more people like me from a parent perspective that are doing that.
Well, here's the other thing, Enrique, I want to say shout out real quick to Kenny. He says Game Pass is $1. That's got to distort the numbers. That's my thing. So even if you guys want to go ahead and say the numbers doubled, which we don't even know where are we starting from? Nobody knows. So it doubled. Okay, so it doubled. So let's say they were at 1 million. Now they're at 2 million. Okay, so they're at 2 million. But it's also $1. Everything is $1 right now. Everybody knew it was $1. Like Gears alone was 75 million. Halo's rumored to be like 400 million or 500 million dollars to produce with a 650 man crew or woman crew, right? Come on. So what I'm saying to you is now you have $1. Of course, even if I'll give you guys benefit, it doubled from what we don't know. Sure. So what does that mean? So what I'm saying is you guys can go ahead and say that what I'm saying isn't holding your glass of water, but what I'm saying to you guys is this. We don't have any numbers coming back.
That's not what I said, though. I knew you wasn't understanding my point. I didn't say that your assertions weren't valid. I was saying that I wanted you to acknowledge that there's more than one type of casual.
Well, of course, but Optimus Code, here's the thing, though. If we're going to do a podcast on just absolutes, it's a very boring show. Of course, there's no one casual. There's also not one hardcore. There's also not one mooch. There's also not one Optimus Code.
No, there's only one mooch.
No, because here's the thing. No, trust me, there isn't. There's a lot of mooches out there in the world. Trust me. My point is this, is that there's a lot of all of this. What I'm saying to you is that Game Pass right now, I don't believe, guys. So everyone in the chat's like, Mooch doesn't know what he's talking about. Listen, guys, I do something else for a living. I do this for fun. I don't believe 2 years ago, or was it now, we're going on 3 years ago, Game Pass was introduced. I don't think it's doing what they wanted it to do. I truly don't. Maybe I'll be wrong, and I hope I am. I hope I'm wrong.
I understand what you're saying. I just don't understand what data you're using.
They announce from the heavens. If right now, if you have 46 to 50 million Xbox Ones out there. Mm-hmm. PC's also got Ultimate Game Pass, which has millions of gamers. Wouldn't they say we have 20 million Game Pass subscribers, or we have 50 million Game Pass?
They haven't given definitive numbers.
They haven't given. Thank you, Forte. That's all I'm saying. Thank you. They haven't said anything. They love to announce these things.
But when's the last time he actually giving you a definitive number on anything, even when it's done well? I mean,
they just said that Gears was 3 million people in the first weekend. Come on. That's the thing. We can't sit here, guys. Listen, we're going in circles. Guys, we're going in circles.
Gears of War. That's not sales.
They will give big numbers.
I didn't ask for sales. I said users. They haven't said how many Game Pass users. They told us. They told us on the weekend that Gears came out.
But that still doesn't show how many people actually.
They told us 8 million people set sail on Sea of Thieves.
Oh my god!
But wait a minute, why is that? Oh my god, why is it when I give you a number and a stat that doesn't count? But then it's like your numbers and your stats.
No, because
those count.
because in my mind, I'm thinking Microsoft hasn't. That's why I said a lot. Like when Microsoft, everybody kept saying, well, when Microsoft starts doing next generation, they're gonna start giving numbers on how many systems are sold.
Why not do it now?
I said that would be a mistake because you kind of already set this precedent that you are in a situation where you haven't revealed actual numbers for anything.
Forte, they'll release those numbers. No, Forte.
Look, Microsoft's they're giving you user engagement numbers.
Forte.
They're not giving you flat numbers on what stuff is doing. They just said over the first whatever day 3 million people played the game. That's not a whole sample size of everybody that has Game Pass.
Forte, if they sold 10 million launch consoles in 1 week, you better believe they'd be screaming for the mountain.
Yes.
Wait, you want to know why?
We'll see.
Why? Forte, why would it? Forte, if you have a group of you have stockholders, you have a board. Are you telling me they're not going to sit there and be like, you know what? We just set a record in 1 week. We sold the most Xboxes that we've ever done. The Xbox Series X. We sold 10 million consoles.
And they're going to spin it and they're going to spin it and say something like Sony said when it's the biggest selling IP of this generation.
They're going to do it because it is great publicity for their stockholders. That's how this works.
I'm just telling you, Microsoft hasn't done that this whole generation, and you expect them to do it now.
Doing well this generation.
So why are they going to give you a number or something?
They have to spin it for the stockholders, dude. They have to spin it for the stockholders.
They had stockholders this whole generation.
Listen,
those stockholders
that's
that left.
Though, Forte,
when
they have to spin it.
They
announced.
They announced that their what is it? Their Elite Controller 2 sold like hotcakes. Oh,
they give you no number though.
Did they throw a number out?
They ain't throw no number out on that either. That thing
was the number one selling accessory of all time. That's what they did, though. We have the number one accessory of all time,
and they still never gave you a number on that.
My point is, they scream when they're doing well, and they're hush when they're not.
So Mooch, do it like this, based on the way that you're reasoning, Mooch.
Mm-hmm.
If there were 3 million Gears players, we will assume that Gears was trash and nobody bought it, so they all downloaded it through Game Pass.
Right.
So we'll just say there are 3 million Game Pass users, and they double.
That's not my numbers. That's not the numbers I'm saying. I'm saying that's what they said on that opening weekend. So you would think if it was this big banger and it was doing so well, and
like 5 or 6.
You would have seen 5 million, 6 million, and then how many users are on multiplayer because they can't stop, and it's esports, and we do that. Oh, nothing. Zero.
Oh my god.
So wait, no, it's not. Oh my god, Gaming Forte. It really is. They're gonna scream from a mountain that they're the number one accessory holder on a controller, but they're not gonna talk about their $75 million franchise in Gears.
It's still not give you a number when they say they're the number one selling accessory for controllers, and they still don't give you a number.
They still said they're number one.
They didn't give you a number. You could be number one. Oh my god! You could be number
plus one.
You could be number one by one.
You could be, that's what. Wait. Oh, so mine is not okay, but Optimus and you and they're doing better. So I said plus one, and you guys were like, "Come on, Mooch, plus one. Come on, Mooch. Why is it my plus one doesn't count, but your plus one is moving mountains?"
Yo, your plus one did count.
That's all. Then we're on the same page. Then we're gonna agree that they will do a plus one.
Plus one was invalidated because they actually did give a number. You were saying they didn't give a percentage, so it could be by one. We found the article. The article said 50%, so your plus 50, one.
But we don't know 50% from what? 1 million? 2 million? Half a million? Right. 10 million? 100 million? Where are we?
You told me telling the absolute truth would be boring. I'm gonna have to.
That's what I'm saying. You can't speak in absolutes.
And then to say that people only get it for $1, that kind of irks me a little bit now because I agree. A lot of people do get Game Pass for $1, but we always complain in this community about people. We always say, man, they said, man, I pay for Xbox Live. And then we always say, I never pay for Xbox. I never paid full price for Xbox Live. But guess what? Most of these people go out and spend full price for all of these services that they got. There is more people that spend $60 for Xbox Live, and they do not have to. So trust me, there are people out there spending $44 for 3 months of Xbox Ultimate.
Absolutely.
And they don't have to. But guess what? And the system screaming at you in your face telling you can pay $1 for it. And they still don't do it. So
I mean, that's true. Because the people when like I said, these different parents call me to talk them through getting Game Pass. I'm like, you don't have to have your Xbox. You just can go online. I try to talk them through it, and I try to like show them how to use reward points. And they're like, no, I just rather pay the money. Like they don't even. I have never paid not even $1 for Game Pass.
Me either.
Because I always use reward points. But yeah, the people I'm running into, they don't even want to deal with it. Like that's
even, and that's an Optimist. That's a great point that I don't even bring up. Like that's the thing. You're not even spending $1.
No, I am paid up the Game Pass. You can only extend it for 2 years.
Right.
3
so
years.
I'm already at the max. 3
years.
Okay, well, whatever it is,
I'm good till 2022 for $1.
They won't let me do it again. But as soon as I can do it again, they've got this 3 months of Game Pass. I got my points saved up. Yeah, I've never paid for Game Pass ever.
Let me do this. I absolutely love tonight, by the way. You guys don't understand. See, a lot of people in the chat are like, Mooch, blah, blah, blah. Guys, I love it. That's why we do Crossfire. I want to say shout out to It's Joker76, who goes, oh dear. And before he said, is this the MNC show or something like that? Before. Shout out to Joker. Joker, I love that avatar, by the way. Guys, what a great show. I kept you guys here till 9:30. Optimus even said he was going to leave at 8. That's what happens when you come on Crossfire. You stay till 10. So, guys, listen, I got to be honest with you. What an outstanding show. Listen, you guys know how I feel. Look, first and foremost, I want to say this much. It's great to have back and forth. Leave Stadia alone, Bet. Listen, that's a whole nother show. But listen, I got to be honest with you. I love the back and forth. I like this. I think the thing about it is this. You heard both sides of the angle, all right? Myself personally, I think Game Pass is great. I have it till 2022, right? You don't buy or get into what you don't believe in. I think it's great. I don't know if it's going to be what Microsoft hope it's. They're hoping it's going to be their golden bullet. They really do. And I hope it is. But I'm not sure yet. I'm not convinced. And I think we all said it earlier. I think Optimus, I think Forte, Eric, Crap, Bit, Enrique, Goldblum, Mr. Bad Bit, we all said it. It's going to come down to the games. It's going to come down to the games. Yeah. Right? That's what makes you continue the service.
What are we talking power for?
Well, there's that too, but that was well, power will come up again, trust me. But nonetheless.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I want to say thanks to everybody. I want to say thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys were amazing, even though you guys Mooch doesn't know what he's talking about. Who's this Mooch guy anyway? Those are my favorites. But anyway,
he's not alive. He's just hyping it up.
Yeah, Stadia is just some kind of ridiculousness that Mooch made up. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's great. It's great. I want to say this much, guys. Awesome show. Fantastic. Let me go in reverse order here. I'm going to start with Mr. Badbit. Mr. Badbit, I want to say thank you for being here, buddy.
Awesome.
And
thank you for
I want to say thanks for putting up with my yelling.
Dude, it's a lot. Let's be real.
It's not a little. It's not a little.
Yeah. No,
you're very right.
Like you start at a 10. You start at a 10. We're all the way at 20.
He goes, you started at a 10. That's Mr. Babbitt, I got to use that line. That's fantastic. Mooch starts at a 10. But let everybody know where they can find you, buddy. And thank you so much for being here tonight.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, again, thanks for having me. Yeah, you can find me over at Bad Big Game. Things, games, news, and reviews, and over at the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players. Each and every Thursday, I record that show with my best friend Kyle. We had Brap on it a few weeks back, and yeah, each and every Thursday on Bad Big Games, on iTunes, on Google Play, wherever you get your RSS feed service. And again, thank you for having me on Crossfire.
Awesome to have you, Mr. Badpit. Hopefully you'll come back on the show again.
Oh, absolutely.
Love to have you, buddy. And then Optimus code. Optimus, by the way, you are a prime candidate for Crossfire. You don't realize that. Mm-hmm. But you are a prime candidate. You are. You're fantastic.
Yeah, I was wondering if y'all was going to let me back.
Are you kidding me? I'm going to give you the key to the city. Okay? That's how good you were, man. Optimus, I love having you here, buddy. I love your knowledge. I love your background. And that's what makes you such a great guest on the show. Optimus, let people know where they can find you, buddy. And hopefully you'll be on real soon.
That stuff ain't important. Great show, man. Thanks for having me.
Optimus, you're the best, buddy. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And then lastly, this guy just pops in. He says, Mooch, let me get in the show. One of our special guests, Big Cloud Gaming, who just finished probably his own show. Okay, this guy just podcasts for a living. Bit, outstanding to have you as well. And it's very hard, by the way. I want to give Mooch a little credit. You know how hard it is on one show to have Big Cloud And Bad Bet?
Candy Crush.
I got Big Cloud and Bad Bet on the same show?
There's only one big cloud, dude.
That is only one big cloud, but it's a lot of bets. Bet, listen. let people know where they can find you, buddy, and thanks for being here tonight.
Oh yeah, no, thanks for letting me jump on. Awesome talking to you guys as always. Bit Cloud Gaming, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, bit_cloud gaming. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hit that like button, and I will see you guys again very, very soon. You gotta be awesome.
Appreciate that, Bit. And honestly, the Bit Army is awesome, dude. You guys have an outstanding show that you guys put on before this one. It's really, really great. Bit, thanks for being here. And then I've got my buddy here, Goldblum, who literally was here just to interrupt and try to disgruntle Crap Gamer. Dark, great to have you here tonight, buddy, and to let people know where they can find you.
I thought you were actually going to talk about games tonight, Mooch, and then you told me Crap was coming in, and I was like, you didn't even tell me. You didn't even tell me, Mooch.
My
you just
fault.
did it.
I apologize.
You did it.
A little late for that apology.
You guys can find me on Twitter at Dark Autos. You can also find me on Xbox and PlayStation at the same name. Thank you, Mooch, for having me on, dude. It was an awesome show.
Awesome, buddy. Appreciate it very much, Goldblum. And then I've got my buddy Brap. Woo! Enrique from Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. Enrique, thanks for being here tonight, buddy. Let everybody know where they can find you, please.
Let me just say something. This was an awesome Crossfire.
Yes!
I mean, it was like Crossfire to a T. But
great!
No, great show, great panel. I had a blast tonight, guys. So thank you again, Mooch. Always a pleasure, man. And you can find me on the Twitters at Brap_podcast and of course Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube.
Awesome, Enrique. I appreciate that. And then I got my buddy here. I've got Gaming Forte, who does the work for you folks, not for himself. He does it for you, Forte. I love going back and forth with the Forte. Forte, thanks for being here tonight, buddy, and let everyone know where they can find you.
Yo, man, it's always great. Man, like Brap just said, you can always catch us over there on Brap 9 p.m. You also catch me on Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick. You know my man over there on Mondays at 8 p.m. And and Ashley Lucas channel, Scumcast on Saturdays. Man, I'm just all over the place now, it just seems. But other than that, catch me on,
you get around.
He's wanted.
I mean, I'm like doing the rounds, man.
Forte's awesome, man.
I try, man.
People may not realize, but you are the man, Gaming Forte.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that. But no, other than that, YouTube.
I don't know about that. He hijacks shows.
What? Oh, I do hijack you. Hey,
I don't know about that, dog.
Hey, I hijack your show whenever you want me to.
I don't know, man. He's still microphones and hijack shows. I don't know.
Oh,
at least that's better than what Slow-Mo would have said.
Oh, man.
Oh,
yeah. You hijack shows.
Because I can't go do because that's my surrogate.
Forte, is he in the chat? You hijack shows, he hijacks ankles.
Oh, man.
Well, guess what? You can catch me at Gaming Forte on YouTube and Twitter. You can also catch me on my other podcast and my other show that I run. It's called Bit Cloud Gaming. I make all his videos. And I do all of his. And secretly, I write all of the scripts for his videos. So if you want to know why that man is doing as good as he's doing and gets all the industry guests that he gets on the show, don't look no further.
So what you're saying is this show is fake, then, right? That's what you're saying.
It kind of is,
I'm like the Mandalorian. There you go.
I try to put a good fake on.
Forte needs to be known as the producer from now on.
I do,
producer.
Man.
I like that. It's got a nice ring to it too, Forte.
Don't blow his head up anymore, Mooch.
I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of Forte.
I love you too, man.
I'm gonna do I appreciate that, Forte. Thank you. Not many people say that, so I appreciate that. Thank you. I want to do a quick shout out and give the guys that had to leave a little early a quick shout out. Eric J. Shout out to Eric Jackson, dude. Eric is one of the greatest guys on Twitter. I wish he would start YouTube himself. The man is wise, and every time me and him DM each other back and forth, just an amazing guy to listen to in gaming, and he knows what he's talking about. Check out Eric J right there on Twitter. Also want to do a shout out to Xbot448 who had to leave, but he's got next podcast tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. His channel's right there on the screen. I have all the links and information right there as I'm saying it. So please do check out Xbot. And last but certainly not least, I've got the Crap Gamer. Crap had to leave at 9 o'clock. He told me that ahead of time. He will be making spot appearances again on Crossfire, which is great to have Crap Gamer back. There's all of his information and Crap Gamer reviews, etc. He does 2 videos a day. That being said, guys, you got this that I've been advertising left and right. What's that?
Did we get Babbitt?
Oh yeah, you got me.
Yeah, I
Don't
got
worry, man.
Bebe first. Absolutely. This is a professional show, Enrique.
I wasn't paying attention to that.
It's all documented. There's documents here.
There's like X amount of beers in. It's all right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're having a party. You're having a party, man.
I will
Let
be
me tell
streaming.
you, I'm trying to keep a good state of mind right now with all the pandemonium, the panic.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm looking out my window waiting for Deacon St. John and Boozer to be coming down my street.
They're great. Both of them. Shout out and all that. That's great. I got Mooch is going to be streaming some Neo 2 this weekend. We're going to be doing that, so I have that advertised.
Hell yeah,
see.
dude.
It's going to be a great game. Great. Guys, I want to say thank you again to all the Mooch Maniacs, the Major Maniacs, the VIP Maniacs that joined tonight. I want to give an honorable mention to a few people. Shout out to Slow Mo Backslap out there, Crispy Bomb. I see all you guys. Z Black Rider was in the chat. Just seeing a couple guys that were out there and definitely putting their 2 cents in there. Albert G, thanks for waking up and tuning into the show. And shout out always to the Xbox Pope. Great to have the Xbox Pope who came out by earlier and blessed the show. That being said, guys, we got next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time right here. Please do hit the like button, retweet it out, hit the subscribe button. The goal for 2020 is Mooch at 10,000. I don't really tweet it a lot, but you guys know I want to get to 10,000. It's a nice round number. I like it. We'll do that, guys. We'll see you next Friday. I appreciate it. Good night, and thank you.